Go. So, hey everyone. Merry almost Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. Happy Christmas Eve, everyone. I've got a stellar lineup of people. The Brady Bunch of crypto right here. And yeah, this is going to be a fun show. We'll do the official intros and stuff in a second. But in the meantime, first of all, do you guys and gal consider this how's your Christmas? How's your Christmas coming up? Is it looking good? How have you been?
Everybody's like, I'm not done yet, so I don't know about you guys.
You mean you're not done working yet until Christmas? Is that what
I'm not done working. I'm not done shopping. I'm not done decorating. I'm not done baking. Like, pick a Christmas task, and I'm not done.
Yeah,
Christmas
listen,
party?
you don't have to rub it in. Like me too, but I was trying to forget during this show. But it's funny because we're at the point in the year where I planned lots of things and tried to invite people to lots of things, and now I'm scaling back my expectations of what can be achieved before January 1st in terms of obviously like work type stuff. But then part of it's also like, well, maybe we won't have people over Christmas Eve. Maybe we won't have the second cabinet installed by then. Maybe we won't fix the drywall by then. Maybe we won't it's just like, all right, all right, we're getting to the point where I'm starting to think shove it all in the garage and pretend and pray no one opens a door or that we'll get, covered with a mountain of things.
Hit with an avalanche.
Mm-hmm.
Completely valid cleaning strategy.
Yes. And so, I don't know. Do you guys ever get motivated about holiday stuff and about like how, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get like a cool sweater. I'm going to get a little hat. I'm going to do my hair in this way, all this stuff. And then at the end of the day, you're just like, yeah, fuck it. Just do whatever because you couldn't get it all done.
I feel like that's just the perpetual state of adulthood.
Mm-hmm. Fuck it. That's it. Right there. 2 words. Fuck it.
I'm pretty happy if I get all the shopping done on time. If I don't have to go to the mall on the 23rd or 24th, that's a win. By the way, if anyone has any ideas for a Christmas gift for an 8-year-old girl, let me know.
My
A really retro Game Boy. I don't know.
I did that last year, actually. Is that one of those Linux-based emulator things? Yeah.
Interesting.
Her father used it more. Her father ended up using it a lot more.
As happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. The thing about Christmas, the thing about holidays and people, right? And people tend to be there for holidays. Is gift giving is so I don't know what to get for anyone. All I know how to get things for individuals where I'm just like, oh, that might work for that person. Oh, but like as far as like, hey, what's a good gift for like the aunt or uncle in your life? I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, part of it is if you hate your relatives enough, you can always offer to give them some crypto.
That's a great gift, Joel. What are you talking about?
I mean, I'll take it, but like the point is, it's like Jehovah's Witness stuff, as far as just like, hey, you want my religious text in my seminar? Like, oh, can you not?
A lazy gift, yeah.
Oh, it's funny because I saw one of those, year in review memories things from social media, and it was like 2017. I was like, oh, heck yeah. Like, look at this dip. I'm buying. And I'm looking back now and I'm like, that was a good choice then. But boy, oh boy, this year sure doesn't feel great. And it's stupid because look where we are compared to where we were. But we're all feeling very maudlin for Christmas.
I'm not.
Good man.
Speaking of Jehovah's Witnesses, I've never actually spoken to a Jehovah's Witness. So over the holidays, I put a documentary on what Jehovah's Witnesses do. So I can watch it over the break. That's exciting.
You know what, though? That's a good way to do it, though, because you've got distance between yourself and whoever is actively trying to onboard you. Because if you, it's not, I don't want to say they're like vampires because that's kind of a mean thing. But once you invite them in, they will keep coming back with a copy of the Watchtower until you're part of the crew. So maybe the 1 degree of separation to learn from is a solid plan.
Yeah, you can always turn it off, right?
That's right.
I mean, it's just out of curiosity.
Yeah, and that is something that's interesting to me because obviously over the course of my life, I've been part of what a lot of people would call cults, where, for example, being in the sort of, expat conservative prepper type cult, that could be a cult, right? I was homeschooled my whole life. Some people call that. I grew up sort of religious. Some people could call that. I went to a school where everyone was Latter-day Saints. Everyone was Mormon except me. And so then I've been like dipping toes into all kinds of little, what a lot of people would call cults all over the place. And then like in crypto, I mean, obviously everyone's got their own coin, but I've been involved. I mean, not involved, but I've been welcomed into some spaces that some people would call cultier than others. Like I've known plenty of hexicans and BSVers, for example. And like usually that's kind of far in. It's I don't know. It's always interesting what people choose to. The thing is the it's not just this is not the holiday spirit about it. This is like my actual opinion that I do think that we're all sort of the same once you get used to like identifying the quirky little cult like parameters. Once you get to the people, there's just a lot of like similar people, and I don't know if I've ever. Okay. In the spirit, in the anti-holiday spirit, let's go not like which cult do you guys know or group that has had some of the weirdest people in there, or some of the most like, as far as it is, it's just like there's not a lot of redeeming qualities other than entertainment value in this community.
Let me just start by saying, actually, one of my best friends growing up was a Jehovah's Witness. Mm-hmm. It was my next door neighbor, and he was a pretty normal kid. Like I gotta say, except for like not being available to play on Saturdays or Sundays because he had to do stuff with his family or with the church. I actually went to a couple of their church meetings, and it wasn't. Well, it was boring. I was like an 8-year-old kid, bored out of my mind. But they're very nice. They had lots of food, very kind people. I have nothing bad to say about the community. That being said, as an adult, my then best friend is not as involved as he used to be, whatever reason. But yeah,
Maybe
they were generally nice people, and I guess because we were neighbors, they weren't too pushy. Like they knew we were right there, and if we wouldn't bite like after the first meeting, we weren't going to.
Yeah, well, that's good. Now let's I guess let's steer that to more crypto then.
Crypto.
It feels less personal to go after someone's crypto cult than it is for their like, man in the sky cult. So, which is some of the weirder, like just because there's some cults where it's just like, oh, these guys are nice at least, and then there's other ones where it's just like, ish, not a lot of winners there.
I will
let's name
say
some names and start some beef here.
Crypto unrelated but quasi-related is I find the intersection of flat earth and crypto to be a very difficult place to coexist.
You could have just said BSV.
I'm just saying, working in an ecosystem that is very like free speech forward, long form content, community building. Sometimes when you get a couple of them together, regardless of which crypto it is, but I will say there is also a lot of hex overlap. It's a lot all at once to have in the maelstrom, the maelstrom that sits upon the table of the flat earth and eventually will fall off if you can avoid it. It's a lot. That would be my, yeah, it's tough because they're nice people, but if you get on the wrong topic, especially at a crypto event, you're toast. It's hours gone for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's the other thing is like, which unfortunately is very hot in today's mind, is people of a certain, ethno-religious background that is just like that have a lot to do with financial systems in particular.
Yes.
That's another one that intersects with a lot of things, and then you just get like, the flatter. There was someone was posting. I don't remember who it was, but someone who I know who was posting about how there's so much like, intersect. Why are there so many flat earthers here in the BSV community? And I'm just like,
Is that a real thing? Oh my god.
there are. Listen, yeah. Have
It's
you met?
become a real thing, right? Like, I feel like I'd never heard of that until about 2 months ago. I saw some sort of chatter, like as the group is just shrinking smaller and smaller, and then Craig Wright was like out, and all the ones who were like, "Oh, okay, we got wrecked in a law courts." That was our thing, so we kind of admit we were wrong. Like a bunch left there, and so it was just getting down to like this progressively smaller little narrow wedge. That seems to be once that has risen to prominence.
It really says something about the coin when the only true believers left are the flat earthers.
Yeah.
As-
Strength of conviction, though, like A+.
Oh, yeah.
A for
I have to
effort.
find. Speaking of that community, you mentioned Craig Wright not being involved as much and stuff, and I have to find some post of his, I guess, on his weird alt account or whatever it is. Which, by the way, just as a quick scroll down, I already saw that like he's already trying to dunk on people for blocking him when he blocked me immediately. So like, this dude is just an interesting guy. But for a while, like after you got punt, as it were, all the posts were just about like his like turnips and stuff. He was just like fucking gardening, and that's just about it. Like
His turnips. Okay.
I don't know if it's turnips, but he's been gardening. Man, this guy posts a lot. I didn't realize because he has to be blocked, and also I don't care. But yeah,
Like the kind of guy that would brag about his squash.
yeah, of course. That's the thing. The other thing is, it's always funny to me. Speaking of cults and cult leaders, it's always funny to me, and this is where we might. Actually, why don't I just fully roll the intro and get the intro, and then we go in this because I can see how this segues directly into Nick Carter. Okay, so we have to go there. So, intro time. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So, welcome officially. Happy Christmas before Christmas, everyone. The Digital Cash Rundown Christmas Special 2025. Joined by a wonderful host of characters from all different, all different communities, all different countries, I think. There's might be one overlap, but this is quite the no, there's a little bit of overlap. Sorry, I keep on forgetting. But anyway, hey, how's it going? Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Happy Festivus for the rest of us. All of the above. Let's just go down with a quick little list of intros. Who are you? What do you do? And what are you grateful for this year? Let's just start. Jeremy, why don't you go first? You're in my rotation here.
Yes. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm the host of the Bitcoin Cash podcast, one of the developers of Selene Wallet and host of BCH Bliss annual conference. I am having a great Christmas because after about 7 years of being consistently ignored and overlooked, magically this year, BCH is being recognized as one of the top performing coins. So perhaps finally the propaganda machine has been put to, I don't know, suppress somebody else for a change. So you can't ask for much more. That's a pretty good Christmas in my books.
Yeah, I mean, it has been pretty nice. There's nothing quite like vindication.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'd almost I don't know. I would rather be right about something very small, but that everyone gave me so much grief for. And then now I'm just and real quick question on that. Have you kept tabs of anyone in particular who's a hater, who was a doubter or whatever, and then you literally went out of your way to look them up, to contact them and just be like, huh? Have you done this yet?
No, I've sort of reached a kind of nirvana where I'm past that. You know, the list is just so long. You add people to the list, and then at a certain point, you're going off the bottom of the page, and you just think, "Fuck it, let's just burn this whole thing." But I do have a Twitter folder which is called long-term follow-ups. And I have consistently for the last 2 or 3 years been challenging people to make like 5-year predictions and stuff like that. And so at some point I will go back through that. I mean, it's the start of a new year. I think probably need to wait 1 more year. Some of my oldest ones will be like 4 or 5 years old. And then I'll be able to go back and probably make a meta thread of like, look at people getting wrecked. And the pipeline is always filling up, right? Because I'm adding new people with chat. I did one today. A guy told me that quantum computing, BTC would be quantum computing ready in 3 years. So he's only got, 2 years and 364 days left before he appears in that thread. So it's all coming together.
It's possible though. That's the thing. I mean, we'll get into the whole quantum stuff with the Nick Carter crash out. But yeah, speaking of predictions, I was on the aggregated space on Friday by QuickSwap, and Nicole, who helps run that one as well as the Dash space. Last year, she reminded me apparently there were some predictions that I made. She's like, guess what? Your prediction came true. I'm like, what did I do this time? And it's just like, oh, well, there was apparently some big insider thing with like Polymarket, with prediction markets, that basically someone affected an outcome, a real world outcome, in order to trigger the actual payout and get paid. And in order game the real world outcome to trigger the market. And I predicted that would happen. I don't feel like that's a very sage prediction. I kind of feel that's like a duh. Like it's on the table. Someone's going to try.
Was that the Time Magazine prediction for Person of the Year?
No, there were two in contention. I can't remember. One of them was like some Google insider information that someone at Google like did something, but I don't know how much that counts. The real one was some Russia-Ukraine war milestone of like the Russian forces will reach X city by this date, and this is the source. And it was like some respected foreign policy, whatever the hell. And someone on the inside got into that and changed the website of this foreign policy thing to trigger the thing, and then it switched back after they got the payout.
Wow.
And I'm just like, oh no. So that's a prediction.
I thought you were going to say they negotiated it on the battlefield. They were like, okay, guys, look, the trench is here. The payout is going to be in like 10 hours. Can you guys just hop back a sec? We'll just trigger this poly market real quick and then get back to business.
I have a feeling like, listen, that will happen. I don't know if it's this conflict. That will happen at some point. This is maybe a bold prediction. Give it enough time, maybe like 50 years or something. But something will happen where there's like a one side struggling, and someone is just like, look, if we do really well on poly market, we can fund the war for another 6 months. Like, pull back. What? Why are we pulling back? Pull back. And then they go, ooh, and then they just retake it as soon as the oracle hits. It's going to happen. I mean, this is really weird. It's going to happen. Oh god. But the other prediction was that there will be a Black Swan style event with catalyst for the coming bear market, and my prediction was, instead of some alt sector thing, it would be BTC, specifically around Sailor or another DAT. And it's too early for that to be true, but it's looking like I'm less crazy for saying that. I mean, I don't think anyone here would really think I'm so crazy for saying that. But like a lot of the other people, no, what are you talking about? Biggest genius of our time. And now everyone, those same people are like, they're all scared. I'm just like, really, a year? This is all it took you? So that's with the predictions. I shudder to think how many times I'm in your predictions folder, Jeremy, but no need to tell me until it's time.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Don't tell me until it's time. All right. Decentralized Creative. Who are you? What do you do? And why don't you give what you're most grateful for real quick?
Awesome. Well, I'm Decentralized Creative. I run a creative agency out of a place that used to be called Barrio Bitcoin. It's probable that if you're here on this call that I've worked on some of your content, either a podcast or written or maybe chopped and completely ruined some of your content. That's also possible. I used to be part of.
Improbable. I'm not going to bet on it.
Yeah, I used to, but listen to this. I used to be part of the Bitcoin cult. This place used. Yeah, is that the wrong way around? It used to be called Barrio Bitcoin where I live, and I got fired from the Bitcoin cult for not being a maximalist.
That'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they used to have a lot of Bitcoin meetups here. I used to go to all of them, and people would just not listen. They're like, "Hey, have you heard of this cool thing called Litecoin?" They're like, "No, no, you cannot speak of those words." You know. So I'm grateful for having met you guys. The Hive community brought me in. Litecoin community brought me in. Dash has brought me in, and I don't say this like a silo, because like you, as you said at the beginning, Joel, it's just people who are just not have this cultish obsession with my way is the right way and everything else is trash, right? So everybody on this call is kind of has that, where we have the open mind to talk about things openly and not just say, you know, hateful things and call you names.
Yeah, that is kind of the unifying factor on all that stuff. Will say, obviously, I know very few max. So there's a certain kind of maximalist that Bitcoin maximalists are typically, that is just super exclusionary. Like they're just, whatever. Almost every other crypto that has people that just care about that coin is not quite the same way. Like they're much more open minded to talk to at least other people. And I do know some heavy, mostly maxi type Bitcoin people. No one I could get to come on the show, but people that are like pretty much all they really care about is Bitcoin. They think the rest are sort of shit coins, but are like open minded about stuff and not hateful. So, there's some of those, but it's hard. It's really hard to get them there. Anyway, yeah. We're gonna say.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it down to doing clockwise, because that's the way it goes. To Crimson Clad, how's it going? Would you mind? Who are you? What do you do? And what are you mostly grateful for this year?
It's a good question. I hadn't thought about it till now. All of them, actually. Really, it's a constant existential crisis over here. Hey, I'm Crim. I work in operations for the Hive blockchain, but I'm also just a crazy crypto lady. I'm very privacy, freedom of speech, freedom in general oriented. And I believe really strongly in helping disruptive tech make human life better. And I think crypto actually is at the forefront of that. Believe it or not, maybe don't listen to crypto Twitter right now. But I think that's what we're doing. So in general, you'll find me out giving talks, ruining Joelle's podcasts and things like that. And in general, I do a lot of developer relations and business to business stuff, a lot of educational edutainment, I would say, because as serious as I am, I'm a very unserious person. And for terms of being grateful, that's a great question. Honestly, this has been like the worst year of my life. So I am grateful that I'm still here. I'm still holding. I did not let us hands like the rest of the wieners that I've seen around me recently. So that's all good. But no, honestly, I'm pretty grateful just to have made it through this year. Every new year is a new chance to right wrongs and do fun, exciting things. So I'm gonna give the whole Christmas like sappy heart thing. I'm not gonna give a specific event. I'm just grateful to be here, guys.
Yeah. Every
Frankly,
day above ground is a good day
Good
for the
day.
most part.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you live in Phoenix, but that's a different story. Speaking of all that, Denny, you're next. How's it going? Who are you? What do you do? And what are you grateful for this year?
Hi guys, nice to have this lovely live stream with you guys. Yeah, my name's Denny. I work with Thorchain. I'm a community moderator, educator, content creator. Also help with the Rune Bond, which is something that allows people to bond their rune to earn yield with Thorchain. Thorchain is a cross-chain decentralized exchange, real layer one for layer one, no bridges, intermediaries. Has many assets like the people on the saying, "Hi Jeremy, how you doing, buddy?" We got Bitcoin Cash, we got Litecoin. We have a lot of things, and the important thing really is a world, a future, where our financial system is not only non-KYC but it's permissionless. if you look right now, I just took a little gander at the price of silver, $71 right now per ounce. It was 69. I was hoping it would say that because it's kind of memeable, but
Nice.
it's higher than that. Yeah, right.
Kids
It's
these
higher
days
than
moved
that.
on to 67. It's not good enough. 69.
Yeah. Oh,
69
67.
is for-
Yeah.
69 is for us old pervs.
Yeah. I learned about 6-7 recently. I was okay. That's very interesting. But anyway, what's happening there, right? $71 per ounce of silver. I think many understand that the current economic doctrine that we live under is not looking too hot right now. And so what I am most thankful for is actually people like in this live stream in these wider communities where we actually have a realistic chance after everything comes crumbling down to build something better and much more beautiful that's going to emancipate not only ourselves, but our children, our friends, our family. And this is something that gives me tremendous amounts of energy and excitement for 2026. And I'm really looking forward to it. So every day is a blessing. Just like Krim said, it's a great thing. I've never had a bad day in my life. I've seen what real suffering looks like, and I am beyond blessed. And I'm beyond blessed to be here with you all. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation today.
Absolutely. Very cool. Yeah. Could definitely be worse. Could always be worse.
Don't worry. And you know what? Don't awe me. I'll tell you something real dark right now. Okay.
Okay.
You guys do not.
Let's go. Darker
you
the
do
better.
not-
Come on.
You do not have to worry about Grampus, everybody. I took care of him. Grampus is no longer a thing. So a lot of European countries, so with the power of Jesus Christ and the Second Amendment,
Oh,
I got him. I got him.
You didn't let
That's
me.
it.
You did not
It's over.
let me bring my props. Shame on you. I just see like everyone. See, do you see Krimmy's
I have
background? She's
liberated.
green with envy.
I'm green
Seeing
and
that, yeah.
red. I'm Christmasing. Although, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I never thought about having a pew pew in for OPSEC reasons. But now I'm kind of like, come on, it'd be so cool if we all had them. We just no Krampus is here. Nobody's getting thrown in a sack or beaten with a stick. I absolutely 100%.
Yeah, Grampus is gone. He's no longer a thing. You're welcome. And yeah, when it comes to OPSEC, I don't really like this. Maybe this is a bad. Maybe in a few years I'll be bad, but I really don't care. Like some people say, "Oh, I lost on a boating accident." I'm like, no, I have them.
It's here.
And
Come on.
and I am keeping them, and I don't care what you think about that. That's how I feel about it. So
I live in Canada, so
oh my god,
I know.
Okay.
Condolences.
That's the only. That's the only
F's in the
appropriate
chat.
response to that.
Rip. So yeah, no, just a
come
little
down.
mindful.
If you ever come down to as I live close to Vegas, I will take you shooting. I will show you the way,
Let's do
and
it.
we'll have fun. Okay, there it is.
I like it.
Done deal.
Yes, and the offer extends to what is it, to the free state of New Hampshire as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone else on this live stream, Jeremy, Decentralized Creative, Litecoin, you guys want to come out and blow some things up in the desert, we can do that.
Well, if you come up here, we can. It's just kind of like golf. You have to go to a designated location to do it. It's an expensive hobby.
Yeah. All right. So, last but not least, the animal of them all. Why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you? What do you do? And what are you most grateful for this year?
Hi, my name's Animal. I enjoy Litecoin. I've been a Litecoin enthusiast for years. Script, like anything script, I enjoy. So, Dogecoin, Bellscoin, Pepecoin, etc. Started doing weekly spaces with this guy called Litecoin Underground a couple years ago. And we had a podcast going for a little bit up until recently, but we kind of we're taking a break from that right now. I help out a little bit with the Litecoin Foundation. I've done, some volunteering and helped out with some bounty programs. We have a bounty program, most notably the BTC Pay Server plugin for MWeb. Something that, I contributed a little bit with the developer, helping him find some bugs and whatnot. What am I grateful for this year? We've got a lot of Litecoin pegged into MWeb. We've got almost 400,000 Litecoin in MWeb, which is pretty impressive. We hit 400,000 last week, I think. So that's great. I feel like, the price of Litecoin isn't doing so hot. So it's, it helps to see that there are a lot of people out there sharing, I don't want to call it my delusion, but my belief in Litecoin's utility globally. And the other thing I'm grateful for this year is the amount of snow we're getting out east. I'm a snowboarder, as you can see, snowboards. And we've had quite a bit of snow. It's not even Christmas yet, so that's great.
Hey, there's a reason I did not mention the price of ruin, buddy. Let me tell you. Okay. So, hey, you're following the first principles. So don't, I think Litecoin's an absolutely killer asset, just like Bitcoin Cash. I mean, there's no BTC maxis here, so I'll just interject a little bit. I think one of the things is, this big thing of privacy that's coming up. And I know Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and others, like that is a fundamental core part of their design, their ethos, right? And so you guys are making all the right decisions of an asset that, not only is fungible, but is absolutely essential. Privacy is mandatory, something that Bitcoin lacks. So you're making all the right decisions. On the Thorchain side, we making lots of decisions too. The asset price, I don't think represents that, of course, but just follow your gut, man. You're doing great, and you're all doing great, really. So just keep going.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the fundamentals are there. And so maybe it doesn't have all the flash that some of the other projects have, but it does what it's meant to do excellently, perfectly, I would say even.
Yeah, for sure. I would even say, as I've said about MWeb before, I think it's one of the more elegantly designed solutions in terms of if you think about all the factors that are floating around there that someone has to consider. Just like, it's one of those things where for something like, it's probably one of the most sensible upgrades that BTC Bitcoin could get, where it's like, okay, it solves the privacy thing, it makes some things scale better long term, gives people an out to like soft work and a block size basically increase. And so like for all the stuff that they care about, it seems like the perfect
It's a nice middle ground, yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Bitcoin adopt it eventually. Once they decide that Litecoin is more than just a test net for them,
Well, we'll see. I mean, we're coming up on the quantum thing. That's the real thing. And so, again, all full circle thing, right? But first, let me shill Coin ATM Radar before they actually, one time they were like trying to get a new payment address for like 6 months, and I didn't answer their email, and I'm like, oh shit. So before they completely let's see,
They completely
demonetize me. Before they completely demonetize me, I will have to do that. Not that that's again the problem with having a my train of thought is just nowhere good today. But that's one of the problems with being like busy with a bunch of different things is like, like our good friend Vlad Kostia was a wonderful person. He does, as far as I understand, that's what he does is podcasting. That's like the one thing he does. And so he has to be, you could tell first of all, that's why he's way more successful than me at this. But then also that's why you could tell the little edge with like, I need a big guest on. Let's try to do new numbers that are like higher than next time. And then like, all patience with dealing with the sponsors and all that kind of stuff. Although, do you remember when he had, I don't know if anyone watches the show, but when he had the Xenudu, the Monero guy on,
Yeah.
he kept getting muted every like 30 seconds. And he just was like, I'm sorry, I have to reset the audio. And he kept doing that over and over for like 4 hours straight. And I was just like, yo, that's stamina I don't have. So,
he just broke his record yesterday. He did a podcast which was about 10 hours and something long. His longest one was 8 hours until then, and he did a 10-hour one last night. So
okay.
shout out.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good.
Yes, there was a couple really good bits. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
He didn't mention anything about a bathroom break, so I don't want to tread into that speculation about. He did have some water, and I think he did have something to drink, but he didn't say anything about going to the bathroom in 10
What's your
hours.
secret, Vlad?
Yeah, what is your secret, Vlad?
I have a hose that goes out this window.
Yeah, right.
It's just raining on the people downstairs. In Romania, it always rains like this. It's like, all right, whatever. So, on that note, let me show Coin ATM Radar. I know they love it. They love having this go in there, but we're very proudly sponsored by them. And buying crypto with cash at ATM is much more reliable and safer than meeting some random person in a random place, especially when you can't have the pew-pew cannon like Danny over here. And unlike an exchange which could freeze your account, you do truly own all the crypto that you buy. With Coin ATM Radar, you can find crypto ATMs and other services where you can buy or sell cryptocurrencies for cash. On the website, search by coin, address, if the ATM supports selling as well as buying, because some of us don't have fiat. And you can also search by geographical area, such as country, state, and city, and you can compare fees across different ATMs. Find out more, go to coinatmradar.com, which is, say it with me, coinatmradar.com. You can say it with me, damn it.
Is there a song?
No. I should do a COIN. Yeah, I should do a little song for it, but
Yeah, get another AI jingle for it.
yeah,
Could go in the annals of history.
Oh yeah, I still have not found an occasion to play the Monero Manlet Meltdown on live on air, but that was a good one. That was inspired by lots of things, and that was a good song. It does exist, and yeah. Anyway, I will. Maybe I'll do that after I get back.
It exists in our hearts.
Yeah, I want to like survive Monerotopia with all of my digits, and then once that's done, maybe I play the song. So that'll be good. So yeah, crash outs and Nick crash out. Nick crash out. Carter. So I don't remember what the context was that brought us back to this, but the maxi crash outs. So Jeremy, do you have anything you want to say on all that?
Oh, sure. Of course. Yeah. Well, I'm just a connoisseur of internet arguing and
crash outs.
Emotional meltdowns that people have. I'm fascinated by human psychology and the way that we all have sort of an assumption of the way reality is. And when somebody has some bar, somewhere in that structure yanked out and they discover that it was fake, obviously they can react in a number of ways. But one of the most entertaining ones is sort of emotional meltdown and the various psychological self-defense mechanisms we have. So Nick Carter seems to be going through one of those at the moment. And so I'm quite amused by that, being in there poking him a little bit, poking at the edges of his psychological defenses, along with many other people. He's certainly being overrun and probably needs to just take a couple of days off over Christmas. So I wish him the best with figuring that out. But it does come around to whether or not quantum is going to completely obliterate everyone's bags in the next 2 years. Of course, part of the reason he's so stressed about it is he has a lot of not only his own money and clout wrapped up in all of that, but also he periodically seems to feel the need to be the main character a little bit. So he's been don't we all sometimes, you can't fault him for that. But yeah, just sort of the fact that he's like, no, quantum is going to wreck everyone. And then he's been accused of sort of stirring up, what do you call it? Not fudge, but, when you're trying to like create a panic around something, like catastrophizing.
Yeah.
And
flood harvesting.
Then the best thing to do with that, though, is to just say, well, this is a problem, but it's not like a problem right now. But people that have been giving him those responses, he's just said, no, you don't understand. You're not refuting my arguments. You're not understanding what I'm saying, etc. Which then gives the people who are accusing him of catastrophizing more ammo to kind of get in the mix. So quantum is a classic for that, because it's like the kind of thing that it's a big unknown. It's a big known unknown. Like everyone knows there's quantum computing, but nobody knows whether it's going to come in 2 years or 20 years or never, right? So that's my general summary of affairs.
Yeah. Just to flash some of the crash out in question. So everyone's favorite person, Samson Mao, right? Of formerly Blockstream, whatever he does now. He just said, this was a couple days ago, stop rating VC slop from Nick. I don't know, like what a strange way of like characterizing it as VC slop. Like, okay, whatever. And then he says, Samson, is this you? And then he shares a private email that he sent about him like raising money for this, saying, "Hi, do you want to like buy my utility token and stuff like that?" Which, listen, these are lovely humans all around. Okay, let's just be clear about that. Like,
No, they're not. No.
being funny up here. Clearly, I'm just like, these are pretty disgusting, petty people, kind of, I would say. But the point with the crash out, I think there's a phenomenon, and I don't know if it exists outside of crypto, but there's a phenomenon I like to call BDS, or bag holder derangement syndrome. And I found it happens in both directions. It happens when things are going well as not well. Basically, you're doing the right things and you're doing well. No problem. You're not doing the right things and you're not doing well. Everyone crashes out at the same time. But if there's one or the other, like you're doing well, but you're not doing the right things, or you're doing the right things, but you're not doing well, it's like a pressure cooker where people just like popcorn kernels, pop, will just like randomly blow up and crash out. And you will I think Grim's laughing because he's seeing so many, I'm sure, of those kinds of things.
Yeah, it's delightful, really.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's never like, it's always a weird conspiracy theory of like, this one thing is the reason why it's a scapegoat. This one thing is the reason. And so, for example, the Bitcoin maximalists, because of their high profile, are one of the best examples of this whole thing writ large, because you have a chain which has experienced institutional and financial success beyond a lot of the other chains, if not all of them currently. It's kind of done pretty well. People who've had a big bag of Bitcoin have done pretty well. But then there's been a lot of things of like, well, fewer percentage of people are using it in a sovereign way. It's getting more captured here. There's some looming problems on the horizon. There's all this other stuff. So it's not like everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Everyone's kind of uneasy. And then there's some people that just like, I can't take it anymore. And they crash out. And so, but over random
arms.
things. Yes. Over random things, though. Like,
Yes.
I can't remember what it was before then, but at some point, then I think I would say the Udi Wethermeyer, whatever the hell his name is,
yeah.
and whatever is the other guy's name, Eric Wall, is that the guy's name? I
The
don't
Wizards.
remember. Yeah, when the Taproot Wizards, the Ordinals, was the first of these crash outs, because Bitcoin wasn't doing well, even though it was doing great, right? And then they're just like, if only we could do stuff in the op return, and then, or whatever it was, their thing. They kind of sort of turned into semi-villains, shitcoiners, whatever, in the Bitcoin maximalist community. They started first. It's like, if only this thing, if only we can just inscribe things. And then, as a result, then the whole Nazis, right? The Nazi people. That's the big one right now, which is, or was, where it's just like, because we just need to keep it. That's that one thing that's keeping us from everything. And then they crash out heavily over that. It was one of the biggest crash outs. And then that's already started to become old news. So if you had your money on Knott's drama stock, you sell right now, because that's over. It's old, that's last week's nonsense. Now we're getting into quantum crash outs, where everyone's talked about quantum computing for a while and stuff. But with Nick Crash Out Carter, his whole thing, this is the new era. He's not the only one. A new generation of bag-holder derangement syndrome people focused on the quantum problem. And I would say, I don't know if you would call it the privacy thing. I think the privacy thing might have been part of it. The thing that Zcash capitalized on with the whole encrypted Bitcoin thing, where people are like, it's not that it can't scale. It's not that you can't use it sovereign. It's the privacy. It's the one thing. Everything else is fine. Crash out. So then, anyway, now we're in the quantum era of crash outs, and I don't know. What do you think? Is this the big one? Is this the last crash out before something actually has to change, or is this the last BDS crash out?
The last crash out, you fool.
Wow,
You fool.
I rethought that as it was leaving my face.
It's honestly, it's our space is so interesting because it's completely designed around incentive alignment. And it's so funny to see crash outs because they're just inherently like incentive misalignment, where you've made one little adjustment that's kind of thrown everything off. And for whatever reason, that's the straw, that's the tipping point at people's brains. You could just that last little fraying thread goes and that's it. And it's usually, as you say, it's never about like a real legitimate pile of compounding problems that really is this sword of Damocles. It's never that. It's never that at all. It's always one obscure little thing that just, for whatever reason, it gets stuck in somebody's craw and they must, they must expel it with vehemence. And of course, that just leads to complete, we could take Monero out of it, manlet meltdowns. And women can be manlets too. I'm just saying, it's just that's the energy is the manlet meltdown. And honestly, at this point, it's kind of fun, provided that somebody is able to get out of the meltdown at some point. You never want to see them in a death spiral, but everybody has a little crash out now and again. I don't know. I honestly think it's kind of healthy for the space. Don't at me. But the second we all stop caring, the second it goes quite quiet, and the second somebody isn't weirdly passionate about some kind of bizarre edge case, or in this case, obviously, quantum is not a bizarre edge case, but it is the thing that set him off. That's okay. That's okay. The second that goes away, we realize we've lost some of the passion that makes us so effective. So I'm here for it. I'm here for the popcorn. It's okay. It's just how much grace do we welcome people back with after the crash out, and depending on what sort of horrible things they say during the crash out.
I don't have any knowledge about this particular crash out, so maybe context from me and maybe the watchers of this. Like, what kind of crash out was it? Was he just like in despair that there's nothing to be done, or it's not a problem? Crash out, shut up. What can you explain the crash out a little bit?
And he's ignoring MWeb too, so maybe there's a lot going on with that.
Jeremy, do you want to explain the crash out? The Nick Carter crash out?
Yeah, well,
Crash out.
that is actually such a good name. That would be a good like MMA or wrestling.
It's actually a legitimately good name too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just really that I don't know why. Again, like it's the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know why. A couple days ago, of all days, was the day. Maybe he was researching quantum computers for Christmas or something. I don't know. But basically, he just became very panicked that quantum computing would wreck everybody's crypto bags within the next 4 or 5 years, especially their BTC bags, because they can't do an upgrade. And so they're vulnerable to quantum computers unless something changes. And probably nothing's going to change, which is news to absolutely nobody. But every once in a while, it sort of clicks in their mind, like, wait, everybody's been telling us for the last 10 years that if we never upgrade, that's a problem. But we always told them no. But suddenly it is going to be a problem, So, but the most part of the crash out was he did this research and he put it out explaining about quantum computing and what he looked into and how governments have this sort of timeline for it and how all this VC money is going into it and a lot of very legitimate points. But then when people were refuting him in the comments, he would just, do that ego protection thing where he would say, that's not a real argument, or that doesn't count, or you didn't address all my points or whatever. He's super proud that he wrote this 13,000 word document, which is good. And I'm glad that he did a lot of work. That's great. But it's not like you have to write 13,000 words to refute 13,000 words. If somebody writes 2 tweets, and that kind of hits the main points or raises a substantial issue, you can't just then say, nobody's engaging with my argument. I wrote 13,000 words and all I've got is a couple of tweets back. And that's just...
And here's your private
really
emails.
The root of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then the emotional reacting, got underway with attacking people about unrelated stuff or anybody who had previously criticized him on any other topic. Suddenly then everything becomes conflated. Once somebody has a big public position, they realize they're wrong, and instead of taking a humbling L, suddenly they're like, oh wait, it's the whole world against me rather than my little position that I need to move out of my ego. So
yes, I guess that's what makes it into a crash out rather than just someone with a concern or criticism or a public opinion. It's just the whole... It's the drama. The drama. Just
Yeah, I feel like there's probably contributing factors to a lot of people's crash outs. Like, I think some people, I've seen this a few times. People like play with leverage. You know what I mean? And think that I'll just do a little bit of leverage and I'll be okay. And then they get liquidated, and then they just like it spirals from there. And then they start beating on their dog probably and yelling at their wife, and then that gets on the X, and it's just a disaster. You know what I mean? So I think one thing people need to understand is just understand that everyone is like an organized version of like a disaster, and you don't let your own ego destroy you. You know what I mean? That's one thing. Like what you said
need to
earlier.
have that on one of those like cursive font, like chick motivational.
Live,
things on the
laugh,
wall.
love.
Everyone
Don't let
is
your
an
ego destroy
organized
you.
version of a disaster.
Yeah,
Just put that
it's
above your
true.
little K-cup machine in the morning.
It's like what you said earlier about like the type of crash out, where it doesn't matter if it's successful or if it's because there's failure. Like there's a euphoria. Like let's say Litecoin goes to 2,000, Bitcoin Cash goes to 2,000, Dash is 2,000. Like everyone's doing super good, and Rune does super well. Like the euphoria of the success really affects your mentality, and it can cause bizarre behaviors that are ultimately self-destructive. So that's like one thing that terrifies me, is like I constantly have to check myself. It's like, okay, am I sticking to first principles? Am I keeping logical? Is my amygdala pushing out too much emotions for me? So I think that was a great point you said earlier.
Yeah. The BDS comes for us all sometimes. It is funny how I don't think every community has had something similar to that, but like if I were to say it's unfair calling it the Bitcoin Cash community, because it's not the current community, but there were a lot of those weird things going back, like that, and each crash out resulted in a fork, right? So you had like, I don't remember, what was Craig Wright upset about? What was his pretense with the whole BSV thing? Was
CTOR. It was CTOR. He
canonical
didn't like,
transaction ordering. So what did that happen?
But there's always a pretext. Like that's kind of the point of these things, is that it's just that same thing. It's a small thing that then people get upset about, and then emotionally they get on the wrong track, and then it goes down to like doubling down, like how much weight do you want to put on the scales of this mistake, and just more and more keeps piling up. And that's exactly what happened in some of those cases, and maybe that's what's going to happen here. I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's already a fair amount of damage being done, and it's the reason people like it so much, the reason people love the drama, I think, is because the amount of damage you can do to yourself is proportional to your influence. So somebody who has a lot of influence, who has a lot of money, who has a lot of reputation, like they're the funniest people to watch crash out, because it's like, really, how far are they going to take this? Somebody small, like they can only punch themselves so hard, but somebody big, everyone gets to watch.
Let me mention some notable crash outs in crypto history that I could think of, that just at random. One of them, it's always funny to see like the comeback from a crash out, if there is one. We had, first of all, one of the best crash outs in crypto history was Mike Hearn. For those who don't remember Mike Hearn, he was a key Bitcoin developer, like one of the early ones, and like from the very, very early days. And the very beginning of 2016, he basically crashed out over like the block size stuff. He's one of the first like big blockers to publicly do that. And at the time, I was always kind of a big blocker, I guess, but I remember reading that as like a Bitcoin user and just being like, yeah, it's not that bad. It's not going to be that bad. Like, yeah, this guy's a little much. But then, I ended up agreeing with what he said later. But he just like left, and then just no one heard from him again. He just, boom, I'm done. And then he actually was done. That's how you crash out, right? Or you don't actually, that's not a crash out, because crash outs always have to be embarrassing. That's how you like rage quit. I don't know what the right thing. That's how you bounce. And as far as I know, he might have had someone please fact check me on this. I could have sworn the last few years he was working on some CBDC development, central bank digital currency stuff. And I have to look into that. But like that is like he is, that's like the Revenge of the Sith right there. That guy, that's like evil. Like he's going all the way back to like, So I don't know if that's the case. I'm gonna have to actually look that up. But that's one of the ones where at least he just disappeared and people forgot about him. Then there's other ones. One of my favorite, but yet, kind of under the radar ones was the Dan Larimer one. Now, it's funny. I was like, oh, really? And then Grandma just laughs. So he is known as like the serial founder guy who was like BitShares. He worked on BitShares at least.
Yeah.
Did Steam, which turned into Hive, and then EOS, and then I don't know what he was trying to do next, but he's always trying to jump to a new project. Do you remember what he was doing next?
Oh, he wrote a whole manifesto about it. I got about 10 words in. It was like, oh yeah, this is nothing. I'm sure he wrote some code, 100%. But you could find that. He came back to Hive and was like, this is what I'm working on. It was just this screed. And then I think like 2 months later, we were getting raptured. So that was
that was it. He crashed
straight
out
up
because of the rapture.
Yeah.
The literal rapture. He
Like,
just says it.
100%. He made quite a few different predictions on dates. He warned everybody. He had a lot of content, which is totally fine. But
Didn't he
rather than
start,
kind
like,
of being like, hey,
whining?
get your religion right, get your spirit right, think about your, your earthly actions, all the things that kind of go along with the rapture that I think most people can get behind. He was more like, you are going to die, you're going to burn, like everything bad is happening to you. You're going to be in non-corporeal, like either floated into the air or straight into hell. Like, get ready, fam. And, there were predictions on the death and doom and mutilation, and he's had quite a few. And none of them have happened yet, obviously. And so he just comes back and he's like, well, if you thought it was bad last time, it's going to be even worse this time. And honestly, I never thought I'd like to say that I'd love to see Dan Larimer writing code again, but for the love of Christ, guy, just open up your text pad and get cracking.
Yeah.
It'd probably help.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there's no more terminal crash out than a rapture crash out. That's it. Because it's it. Like, how do you, like, we're all leaving the planet, and then you're still here
With extreme, horrible suffering for anybody who isn't.
Yeah, like, how do you come back from? I guess you just, but like, you're still here. Like, how do you?
He's just pushing the date. That's all.
Oh, he's one of those.
He's like, oh, near miss, but next time. Yeah, it is. It's a lot, and it's tough because again, I think there is. Oh, I don't want to get too philosophical here, but I think there is sort of a correlation between people that work on high level code long enough that you either break things down to like the science of the building blocks of humanity or the spirituality of humanity. Like that's where code leads you in one way or another. However you interpret the divinity of patterns in math and things like that. There's always sort of one ending or another. You're either going to become crazy attuned to the scientific building blocks, or you're going to go straight into, angel numbers and all of the stuff that comes along with deep spirituality. And I think that's awesome. That's a great part of how code opens the human mind. However, there is that point in the middle where you stop coding and you get lost in the weeds, and then nothing happens except this type of crash out. And that's a little sad to see for sure. But he's still here and he's still predicting. So there's that. Means he's not buying whatever it was, $3 million domains for projects that literally never get out of the planning stage. What was it? Voice,
Yes,
I think it was for EOS.
voice.com.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Sorry,
Anyways.
was he predicting an actual rapture?
Yes.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the Jehovah's Witnesses predicted?
Check
The
out
end
his
of the
YouTube.
world.
He actually was posting on Hive about it, but the YouTube, he's got videos breaking down all of the signs. I think it was supposed to be December 12th last year and then a date this year.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a long continuing thing. So if you want to do some research, he's got lots of content for you to consume. Not a lot of code.
See, he needs to do it Peter Schiff style, where he just, the sky's like, growing up, my dad used to call him Chicken Little. Because he's always like, the sky's falling. And the thing is, Peter Schiff is always right under a long enough time frame. And so it's just like all his like histrionics over years. It's just like, whatever. And eventually he just like, listen, all I need is one time. I just need one time, and I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to be a prophet. And so he's just like, Michael Saylor is going to lose all his money when Bitcoin goes to zero. And he's like, just all over and over again. And eventually, like, Sailor's going to die of old age or something. He's going to see, I was right. It got him. I'm like, okay, Peter. So
I feel like this entire topic was a pretense for you to do your Peter Schiff information.
there's a lot more than that. But
It's actually pretty decent. Like,
It was
probably
pretty
better
good.
than I would have done. Yeah.
It's just because no one talks like him. Has that weird sing-songy up and down voice. Like, it sounds so weird. You cannot get through a podcast of his without, like, without losing it. But losing it stuff. Charles Hoskinson, right? Now, good old Hosky has, although no, that's his angry meme coin account or whatever.
Yes.
That's something else. Meme coin's supposed to be fun. Anyway, he's one of those people who manages to have regular crash outs and is just back at it later. Where he just like, you all this and that and then he's just like still back in it later, and then he's a perpetual crash out farmer to where he always got one in the chamber in case he needs to get another one out, It's funny. What was he crashing out about this time? It was I don't even remember Solana stuff.
So there was also a guy, they had found a bug in testnet and they were getting ready to fix
the
it.
FBI.
And somebody deployed it on mainnet and halted the chain, and a bunch of stuff happened. And he instead of saying like, "Hey, wow, let's not do that. Like, we're all working together. We knew about this, and you purposefully said, I'm going to get the FBI on you. We're going to sue you into the ground. Do you know who I am? I make blockchains." The "do you know who I am" is a hallmark of a great crash out.
Oh, and you know what's the funny thing is he has made headline. First of all, the FBI thing wasn't a, I'm going to. He just says we are already in contact.
Yes, we've
He
contacted
had already
them.
gone
That's
to them. Second thing, he has made crypto headline news for being the "do you know who I am" guy twice so far. And he just like came back enough to be able to do it again, to where they were like, "Can you believe this guy?" And they're like, "A few years ago, check this one out."
Indicative that nobody actually does know who he is then, if they had to report on it both times.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a busy space, I guess. But like, I think everyone kind of knows, who he is, sort of. But, and also, as I will point out, every single podcast we mention this individual, he has a unique distinction in being kind of like my father, yet younger than me, actually. So, that's one of those things. I have to point it out because Carlos, one of my other guests who's been on the podcast a bunch, he could not believe that was true. And every single time I had him on the show, he'd bring that up. He's like, "I can't believe it. Can't believe he's younger than you." I'm like, I know, man. I know.
Can I go back to Dan Larimer really quick?
Oh, yeah. Please do.
I
Please
did
do.
look this up, and he starts his blog post that says the following. He says, "Judgment Day is rapidly approaching, and many are looking at September 22nd to the 24th, which they interpret to be the Feast of Trumpets. While I may have previously dismissed Feast of Trumpets, there is still a possibility that I have misinterpreted Scripture." This is insane, man. Blow the shofar. Gather the people. This is crazy shit.
It's just it's enthusiastic.
How many of his bags have gone to zero, though? I mean,
every bag, all of the bags. Pick
that'll
a bag.
take a toll on someone. I
Whoa,
bet.
hold on, though. How many of his bags went to zero while they were his bags?
That's exactly
That's
it.
the better point, because they weren't his bags anymore. He's onto the new thing.
Right. It's just his reputation that was tied to them somehow.
And it's wild, because he is probably a master of his previous communities, basically bringing them forward and having them be the sort of since we're in the scripture language, the sacrificial cow. He'll be like, "Hey, yeah, I'm building this brand new thing. I know you got that old thing and you built up a great position. Shift it to the new thing," and then nuke, turbo
Absolutely.
nuke, giga nuke.
Which, by the way, a wild nerd girl has appeared. How's it going?
Hey,
How's it going? We
Merry
were just
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Merry Christmas.
We were just in the middle of talking about Dan Larimer's shofar tootin' crash out of the rapture and all that stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, you missed that part. But why don't you just tell the viewers at home who you are, what do you do, and What are you grateful for this year?
Isn't that Thanksgiving?
Why are
Did we do
we
the
can't we
grateful?
always be
Always be
grateful?
grateful.
You ungrateful little hussy. Come on. We be
All right,
grateful,
you're right.
please. Come on.
You're right. You're right. Okay. All right. I'm Nicole Grinstead, Nerd Girl 007, and I'm a producer. And yeah, what am I grateful for? Oh, all of you, of course.
That was unexpected.
It's a good answer.
Right?
She nailed it.
No, sorry. Don't they do it this way? These
Yeah,
days?
yeah, that's
This
I
one
can't
now.
do it now. I'm not
This one.
dexterous enough to do that.
Yeah.
It's the kids now. It's this one.
Oh, is it?
This?
I've got nephews. They keep me up to date.
Is that the
That's why
Gen
I
A
knew
one?
about the 6-7 reference earlier. So there.
Yeah, 6'7".
I just see like people aging live on this show. I can see it happening in your faces. They're just like crow's feet cropping out, you know.
Are we all doing the what is it?
Yeah.
The Matt
I'm ready.
Damon?
the Benjamin Button?
I'm ready to die. You know what I mean? 6'7", whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so we're talking about, we just ended up getting into famous crash outs, and we're talking about
Okay.
Nick Carter's quantum crash out that's ongoing and how glorious it is. Then we talked about other founders. We talked about everyone's best a friend, Charles Hoskinson, and how he manages to have repeated crash outs over the years and just come back somehow to be able to then have another one. So he is the fountain of infinite crash outs. And so yeah, we're just a lot of that gossip stuff. Who do you know that you could contribute to the conversation who has had some pretty fun crypto crash
Like
outs, especially
Omar's crash
founders?
out.
Oh,
Oh, okay. No, that's not a founder. But Omar's crash out's pretty legendary.
yeah. I was thinking about how I'm gonna mention it because Omar is also like a friend, and he's also been on the show, and so I just want to not be like too crazy about it. But from my
No, I really like Omar. I feel like you can have a crash out and still be cool. You know, like you just got overburdened, right? And
yeah, he had. I mean, listen. I feel like it's fair game if he posts it on YouTube, but he did
Yes.
have crypto got to him. This YouTuber guy, who's a good dude, but it got to him, and he had a crash out. No other way of saying it, where he deleted his channel. In one of his last videos, he was like running around with no clothing and stuff, and so it was a heavy crash out, let's just say. And now he's
he
sort of
went
back.
from being like
Crypto did that?
yeah. He went
Listen,
from being he went
I didn't.
from
This is
being
not
like,
alpha. This is like it was on this show. So anyway,
he
yeah.
went from being like the top crypto influencer to like homeless. Like you know that's crash
Speaking
out
of
worthy.
Big Boy.
Like that
I was
warrants a
just going to
crash
say
out.
this is Ben levels of crash out.
Yes. Totally Ben levels of crash out. Yeah.
Yes, which that's funny because the only time I ever saw that individual in real life was just randomly down the street in Austin, Texas. He was running by me, training for his fight, and yeah, that's about all I saw about him. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like who else, like almost like founder level or like other person.
Do BitBoy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
weird.
but
Ben
that's
levels.
that's just kind of like that's like low hanging fruit. It's a little, yeah. I mean, he just had problems. It was a continual crash out. How about BitLord? BitLord had I don't know if you remember that guy. He's still.
That was
Yeah,
was
I
that an
remember
act
that.
when he was in the hospital and stuff?
I don't think so. It could be because he's a dramatic person, but I think that he also had a substance problem of some kind, seriously, and then could happen.
I'll
Used
do
it for
it.
clout. Yeah, well, he was in the hospital.
Yes, for
Might as
sure.
well, eh?
Well, right until you finish that story with he was running in the streets with no clothing on and had, like hit the bottom of the crash out. I was going to say, like, if I ever crash out, I give you full upfront permission to everybody on this panel to make fun of me. Like that's the joy of it, is good-natured ribbing. Please do so.
Yes.
But then I was like, oh, that got dark. Like it was like, haha, like he's crashing out. And then it went. So maybe maybe there's a bottom level where we go from making fun of each other to uplifting each other. But right up until we hit that, please roast the crap out of me.
Yes.
Well, and then once you come back from it too, right?
Yes.
Like the roast is fun. It would be fun to be roasted. Like it's supposed to be in good nature. Let's see, famous crash outs. Roger Vere's had famous crash out. Richard Hart has had famous crash out.
Yeah. What is old Richie boy up to these days?
I don't know, honestly. Like occasionally I see posts, but I really haven't been keeping up with that community as much. Like I obviously like follow a bunch of them, but I see a lot of different content now because I haven't been really active.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Thinking about that. This is obviously also everything public, but also very positive ending to the crash out. But I was in Barcelona for ZCon in 2023, right? And then that was the bottoming of Zcash, let's just say, where sentiment was an all-time low. The sandblasting attack was hitting. Everything was just and it was, you could feel it in the air a little bit. It was just like, it was a good conference. I had a good time. There were a lot of good people, but like on stage, the Electric Coin Company and the Zcash Foundation people were like fighting with each other, like yelling at each other and stuff. And it was just like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And like after that, I forget what role he had, but Josh Swire basically quit the Electric Coin. He basically quit his job at ZCon. And like, he came back like a couple weeks later as the new CEO of Electric Coin Company. And since then, Zcash has done amazingly because of a lot of the stuff that he did. But it was like, I kind of feel like that's a valid crash out to mention, because it was a crash out. And then they begged him to come back. And he's just like, all right, but we can do things my way. And it turns out his way did pretty well since then. So that's a valid crash out to mention.
Yeah, he was right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like picking on founders and stuff, let's go to our good friend Charlie Lee for a second. So in this one, I don't know how to say, it's more like a maxi crash out around him than it is him. But Charlie's been in and out of Litecoin, been all over for a while. Most recently, from my understanding, he's gotten pretty active, running around recruiting money for DATs and funds and stuff like that. And then he was on, I don't remember which show. I'm sure Animal knows more than me, but he was on some show, and then he made some side comment about when they're talking about, well, how's the market's been, blah, blah, blah. And he made some side comment about, oh, if I should have just sold all my Litecoin for Bitcoin and just, that's it. I would have been much better off. Haha. Just talking about.
I don't think that's a correct quote.
What exactly did he say? It was some kind of an aside of like,
he
well,
said
I would have been financially
if he could go back
better
in
off.
time,
Yes.
he would have just bought Bitcoin, not created Litecoin. He would have been better off if he spent all his money, all the money that he had at the time on Bitcoin back in 2010. Or was it 2009 when he got in or something? And I think it was Bitcoin Magazine that took it out of context, saying like, sell your Litecoin, buy Bitcoin. That's what Charlie Lee is saying to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in fact, he was saying if he could go back in time, because he's a pretty private person, and now he's got all kinds of notoriety, and people know him and recognize him, or at least some people recognize him. So he's got to walk around with like security and stuff. He can't just have a normal life anymore. And I think he would like to remain anonymous if he had the choice to go back in time and just buy Bitcoin and not say anything to anyone about it and just wait, 12 years or whatever. That was what that's what he meant. And Bitcoin Magazine took out of context, and I think it was some other guy, Rizzo, that reposted recently. And I mean, it's fun seeing the Litecoin fam getting involved and reiterating the spirit behind Charlie's words in the comments. But yeah, I think Bitcoiners like picking on Litecoin just because in reality it's its biggest threat in some ways. So yeah, look, it's good exposure for Litecoin in any case.
Yeah, I just thought it was like, it's funny because at first, you know, whatever news headlines used to be back in my day, right, 10 years ago or more, used to just be like, all right, crypto generic, or most of them had a very strong Bitcoin lean because that's the way the world was. It was accurate to say it that way. Then at some point after the 2017 era, any good crypto news, you start to see the maxis like repost those headlines, but then just leave out the rest. Be like, in Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, in crypto. Just leave that piece out. And that was been going for a while. And now we get to the point where every single publication, influencer, whatever, just says huge bullish alarm things everywhere about everything and makes it some kind of a, you know, buying Bitcoin. And then that's the era we're in now, where then Charlie Lee says something and it's just like, wow, they just jump on it. And the desperate, I mean, there was kind of a part of me also thinks, you know, Charlie should know where he is and just be a little more careful with how he phrased that. But like, if he had said that on my show, it would not have been a thing, right? But if it's on that show, but where it got desperate was it was this last week. I think they started trying to pump it again because they're just like, we have no news, nothing's going on in our world. Let's hit up
do they attack any other coins, or is it just Litecoin for the hell of it?
Well,
because I don't really.
Any opportunity they have, that was a thing. I don't think that was special about Litecoin. I think what was special is Bitcoin Magazine got an OG. I would consider Charlie an OG of the Bitcoin space as well. And they just got some OG on there, and he just mentioned that, and they jumped on it. But like any other, if you got, you know, a 587 ranked market cap coin project founder saying, I probably should have just bought Bitcoin instead of starting this thing, it would be headline news everywhere. They wouldn't know anything about what this project is. They just blow it up.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Charlie is that he's just too honest, you know? Whereas most founders are
Charlie's too honest.
Listen,
Have you ever seen the video where he makes the bet with Roger Ver about how many merchants there will be for? You got to look that up, man.
yes, well,
I don't know if he's the most honest guy after that one.
that's going to have to be some homework that we go review. But I think the best way to phrase that is he's too, like, just straightforward.
Candid.
Now, you could be candid and maybe say something that might not be true. I've had some issues with some stuff Charlie said that hasn't been true in the past, but it's the point about him being like, he's not like anyone who is any kind of like a developer type people tend to be just much more like straight as far as what they say. And so not very good PR voice, I guess. That's kind of the thing where it's not like, oh, how am I going to package this and frame this for everything? It's just like, well, you know, if I could go back in time and just buy Bitcoin, I think that I would have more money right now. It's just like, well, that's kind of a fact. It's like, but, you know, so he says it. So therefore, and then people jump on it because they're like, he regrets it. Like, I didn't say that.
I don't mean to change the subject. I gotta know, Nerd Girl, what are you sitting in? This is like a fluffy throne.
Listen,
Looks like
What is it?
It's like an egg.
like a Dr. Seuss tree.
it's like,
Oh, you're muted.
Oh no!
Yeah, you're not explaining it. You gotta.
Sorry, I was
There you
muted. Yeah, so it's a pink egg chair and it's fluffy.
yes.
See?
Is it comfortable? It looks comfortable.
It's super comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a gaming chair. I found it at TJ Maxx. I was just like TJ Maxx Home Goods. I was walking through there and I was like, this chair, I need it.
It's
Yeah.
delightful.
It's most of the reason why I invite you on my show. Sometimes
I know.
It's just I want that. Most of the other reason is the tiara, and since it's not here today, I kind of feel like
I was
got a little
gonna
ripped
say.
off.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could go put it on.
No, it's not. It's inauthentic at this point.
Yeah.
So
I know,
the
I was
damage is
like,
already done.
I was like, wait, do I need to put it on before I go? Because I just like I kind of forgot about this, and then I saw your message, and I was like, oh, okay. Let's go.
Yeah, that many such cases. Which, by the way, I did invite, what's his name? Shielded Mark. I don't know if you know that guy from Zcash Shielded Labs. He's a fun dude. I invited him on, But then he's the only person when I rescheduled so the internet would be ready, I forgot to tell him. And so because everyone else was on like Telegram or X DMs, and he's the one I messaged on Signal because again, privacy stuff. And so I forgot to open Signal or have my phone on me, and then there's messages, dude, did you forget? Are we still doing this? I'm like, oh no. So I let him know. He might jump in, he might not. I have not heard back from him, but I'll definitely make it up to him at some point. But anyway, yeah, speaking about forgetting, like even when everyone forgets something.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I forget things all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, some people forget things all the time.
I got too many things I do. It's horrible. My life's too messed up. You got to simplify things. Try to do, all these different spaces and all the different content you got to do. And DMs are crazy. Honestly, I don't know how people manage it. And it's really overwhelming
They don't.
sometimes.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
We're all just organized chaos. That's the.
There you
that's
go.
the
Yeah.
secret.
Well, it's funny. It reminds me of been a few years, but a few years ago, I met with Roger Ver in person, and I was just chatting with him over stuff, and I kept bringing up stuff that I knew he was there and was there for, and he kept saying like, to be honest, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember that. I'm sorry. I don't remember that at all. For like everything. And I'm like, dude, is this guy have amnesia or something? It's like, no.
Were you
he's just
trying
a
to
super...
bait him? Did he know that you were trying to like bait him into saying something
No.
off the record that you could quote him?
It
or
was
what?
literally
Like,
stuff like when he had been on my show. Do you remember this? Or do you remember he had a debate with, thankfully, so he had a debate with Kurt Wookert Jr. of the Bitcoin SV community. And I recorded the whole thing. Something happened where the footage got destroyed and corrupted. And it's one of my biggest regrets in modern life is that I couldn't publish that debate. But thankfully for me, he forgot he did it completely. Oh, to be honest, I don't remember at all. I do a lot of these things, and like, oh, phew. But
he does, like that's the thing. Like you're thinking, oh, that one episode of my show with Roger Ver, and he's thinking, in the last like
Yeah, exactly.
5 weeks, I've done like 50 interviews. Like, which one was this?
But the one thing I won't forget is what I was asking, like, well, what's your like guilty pleasure or something, like just to like start off on like a personal note to make it less hostile. And he was like, Cinnabon. I love Cinnabon. It's like, okay. So like now I know Roger Ver loves Cinnabon.
Wrong though?
Yes.
I love someone.
I mean, who doesn't? But it just was a funny thing to hear. I'm sure that'll be memed. Like someone wants to make take like the crash out face or whatever that people like to, which is also a little. It's at the same time shitty and fair game. It's shitty because he was crying about like children dying in war, which is a thing to cry about. If there's anything to cry about, that's what you do. But also, anytime you make a face where people who hate you can take it and repurpose it, it's also going to happen. And but I would like to take one of those, except like modify it to like a smile, and just do like a Cinnabon advert for that. That would be Cinnabon. Like that would be amazing. I think they'd sell a lot, especially if you have some sort of a gift card store or something for Cinnabon gift cards you could buy with like Bitcoin Cash or Xano or something like that. I think that'd be a good way to advertise it. But yeah,
Tiny bit niche.
tiny bit niche.
Yeah.
But that's like, have you seen where you are right now? I mean, come on. Yes. Yeah, scant a top 10 project amongst them, yet here they are. All of them, right? That's the thing. What's funny? Every time, like, whenever I do content about any kind of crypto, it does well with whatever communities I, talk about typically. That makes sense. I do a bunch of cross-chain stuff. All the Thor chats come out. I do some Hive stuff. Everyone on Hive up to, etc. Anything else, it never like I have made content covered stuff like Ethereum or Solana or these other ones like that, and just nothing. Just get nothing. Like no one cares. Maybe it's because it's too saturated. However, if I go like shit on Bitcoin, woo, all of a sudden that's old old reliable. That's what got me monetized, right? That's like that. So it's kind of funny how like all like like does anyone make any money posting about Polkadot? Does Polkadot a real blockchain? Do they exist?
Yeah,
They
who's a
spend.
Polkadot influencer? Do they exist? Yeah, I've never heard of any of them. Do they exist?
That's the funniest thing about Polkadot is it's one of those top projects. I guess it's top capitalized, like market cap, whatever. And allegedly they have huge amounts of money. The only thing I've heard about them existing or being integrated with any service, the last two things I've heard in the last 5 years about this. One, Simon Harmon of Chainflip, the cross-chain DEX, Thorchain competitor, whatever you want to call it. I believe they're built on whatever the Polkadot infrastructure is or something. And he mentioned that he like regretted it, something like that. So it's like, oh yeah, we kind of built this on Polkadot tech and wish we didn't. Okay. And the only other time was earlier, was it this year? There's a news story came out, a headline that Polkadot has spent untold millions on marketing with nothing to show for it. Yeah. Ironically, that was the one headline they got out of their marketing spend. So other than that, I haven't heard anything about, and like if someone is a dot maxi, just come out and like rage me in the comments or something, please. I just want to know if you exist. So yeah.
I had someone reach out to add on Thorchain, but I don't know much about Polkadot, to be honest with you. I mean, there's so many blockchains, right? It's impossible to keep up with all of them. But that's a thing that's interesting me is like, maybe it's actually pretty smart if they have a huge treasury and they're amply positioned. Like, okay, let me, little topic, let me change the subject here, but I got a lot of smart people I'm talking to right now. So I'm curious your guys' opinion on this. Earlier, I mentioned the price of silver, right? I'm just going to check. Yeah, it's $71.27, right? That's crazy for an ounce. That's insane. So I think, you can think, all right, people are going to go to gold, silver, because they're trying to preserve their purchasing power, right? But gold and silver is not a useful medium of exchange. Typically, it's not very efficient, right? So if I'm not mistaken, people are going to be like, well, what is? And then I think this will cause a lot of people to come into the blockchain space. What do you guys think that looks like? Is it just complete chaos? Do you guys think that we, as all these different ecosystems, are prepared to educate and on-ramp millions and millions of people? Curious what your guys' thoughts on that.
Nobody wants to touch this one early.
No, I'll take it. I mean, I think people, what we all underestimate, because it's very easy to do, is how distributed the impact of like a big wave of adoption is. Because if suddenly I'm discovering like I'm really busy and all my friends and family or whatever are all asking me, oh, the price of Bitcoin went up, what's going on, blah, 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 like, and I'm suddenly overwhelmed with like 5 or 10 people or whatever, it's the topical thing. To me, I feel like I'm really busy, but I'm really just doing my little part of all of us across everyone, across the whole industry, between, the various media apparatus and between, people who are sort of on the ground and in the communities, and then sort of word of mouth, right? You talk to somebody and then somebody else is having a secondary conversation and they're like, oh, well, I don't know, but I just talked to this guy who does know and he told me yada, yada, yada. And so there's sort of an exponential spread out like that. So I don't think, especially now after crypto's been around for so many years, there's so many channels. And of course, a lot of the information that people put out is either fake or heavily biased, which makes the problem worse. But luckily, there is enough people generally involved that I feel like the amplification exponentially is fine. Yeah.
I think AI and like ChatGPT, Gemini are going to have a role to play in what coins people choose for next.
I think that's a really fair take. I sometimes lose track of how many people are using that fully for search now. It's one of those things that I don't want to say like I've resisted, but there is to a degree. I will use it for, force multiplication, but it won't be my initial source, let's say. But if we want to talk about like normies or whatever, it's gone from the let's Google it. It'll be like, oh, let me ask ChatGPT. And it's pretty ubiquitous now. So honestly, we've already seen the adpocalypse across most, traditional websites. Everybody is flipping their SEO to whatever new term they're calling it, engine optimization, except inside of these models and things like that. I think you're right. I think whoever kind of has the ability to figure out how to really get recommended inside of these more common models, especially ChatGPT. Whether we like it or not, that's the one that most people are asking. I guess the Windows stuff, maybe. I mean, most of us have probably disabled us if we have a Windows PC that we're shamefully using. But for a normie, ChatGPT has become this magic tool that is really, really exciting. And it is such a base level interaction compared to probably what people who are really interested in AI and LLMs and things like that can actually do. So that is the next question. I'm seeing agencies starting to pop up who are promising like high level placement inside of AI responses and things like that. But I do think there is sort of I don't want to say like a humanness to the answers, but people do like being able to talk to it like a friend. And if they're embarrassed to ask about crypto or they're nervous to ask about crypto because they're going to get, a blah dump from their friend, it feels safe to go like casually ask this buddy that exists only on the internet. And I think it will. I think it will play a huge part in how people do preliminary research because
Right.
there
Like,
is
you
no
meet them
judgment
at their
there.
level, right? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how much experience you have or knowledge. If you're stuck on a certain aspect of it, like how do I create a wallet? How do I
Yeah.
mine it? Blah, blah. Like it can reach you at your level, explain it to you, and just keep asking it until you understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like who trains these models, right? Are they going to have an influence and an
Absolutely.
overwhelming influence on which crypto is pumped in the future because of it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, the thing is, yeah, it does worry me. So, I don't worry, but it is unfortunate how many people use it as an oracle. And I do refer to it as the oracle in my house. I'm like, hey, can you ask the oracle what it says about this? Just, for some self-awareness. But like, I remember I got into an argument with Grok one time. And like, you're not supposed to argue with it because it doesn't, and I got the most infuriating. I spent like an hour on this. It was not an hour well spent, but I got into a long debate argument with it on whether or not Fluffy Pony was likely an Interpol informant. And like, I know he probably, like, dude, I have it all. I got all the documents, right? I got it all there. And it just was saying, well, I don't think so because he said he isn't. And I'm just like, bitch, you ever heard about lying? Like, what? This never occurred to you? Like, and it was like, yes, I understand you're making great points that he could be deceptive. However, since he said this, it's likely that he's not one. Like,
So it's not being traded on secret Interpol documents, right? Like,
yes,
that's a
but
good
also
sign, I
the
guess.
logic and reasoning is just like garbage. Like, it can't,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't, it just it doesn't understand credibility of truth sources, right? And that's the one thing with like hallucinations is, I obviously have a journalistic background. Some other people here might as well. And you go to primary sources for things. And if you don't have a primary source, you do like allegedly or according to this person, well, you do some other, like there's different, bits of truth. Or like I'd say, hey, what's the block reward breakdown of the Dash blockchain? And it just says, oh, it's this. I'm like, that's because you read a bunch of articles that said it. You didn't go to the actual documentation or the most current stuff. It's not accurate. This is accurate. Oh, right. I'm sorry. Well, and so anyway, I just know too much to like trust it. I know it's not a friend. I don't talk to it like that. I do speak to it conversationally, but I want an output. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not trying to be like, what do you think of this? But I know a lot of people do treat it like that. They do say like, oh, it said this, it said that, not it returned this data and the data is this. Like, and that's where it gets a little bit weird. And so, if, for example, they say, which cryptocurrencies are the most decentralized? For sure. Let me tell you, it's got to be like Solana, number one. And I'm just like, really? Really, oh, look what, and like you don't then do the follow-ups to then be like, well, what criteria would you say? Is it, what about supply distribution? Which entities, known entities, control this much? What about, are there any cases of, for example, the entire community successfully going against the founding team on a key decision, or the opposite? There's just all these, like, none of that stuff. They just, well, it says it's the oracle. The oracle is spoken. Thou shalt hush. Like, yeah.
Well, so this is an interesting aspect. Sorry, I did not mean to step on you there. As I say, this is an interesting aspect of the dead internet theory. We have a problem here in that, especially for documentation and primary sources for tech data, no problem. We can write that specifically in ways that can be accessed really well by LLMs. And they are learning, like, I will go to the Dash website for Dash Docs. Like, they're slowly learning that. But you've kind of keyed in on a problem, which is popular sentiment, because we've seen that people don't write content anymore. They use an LLM to generate content. And then, because the blog space for a long time was less about opinion and more about selling ads, you would take whatever was the first hit, you'd spin it through an LLM, you'd generate a new version of the old content that, was just different enough that you could sell a new ad. So we've had a proliferation of content that is completely meaningless, that says the same thing that is often wrong, or at least not a valid set of well-defined opinions. And they are the vast majority of everything being produced on every facet of the internet right now. And it's getting worse more quickly outside of everything outside of everything like this, that is video content. So any written content, which is the sort of backbone of where these LLMs can easily grab info, is a horrible same echo chamber. So that's something we have to fix, is we have to learn to write opinion pieces again that don't depend on ad revenue, because that's dead too. People will just have to write content because they want real content out there. That'll be interesting.
I had an interesting experience with an LLM the other day. My father was in the hospital last week, and
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, he's doing a lot better now, but still have to watch out for him. So I was asking the LLM, like, could stem cells help with him? I'm a huge advocate of stem cells. I went to Mexico myself a couple years ago. So I asked, and the initial response was like, yeah, no, and in Canada you can't really do that. It's not allowed. Blah blah. Give me all the reasons why it wouldn't work. But then I asked, I was like, well, could he go to Mexico and get some? And then it explained, yeah, actually, there's a gray market technically in Mexico, but it's legal, and they have a whole legislation and stuff. And so I went out to explain in detail how to access it and which clinics. It had like some clinics to recommend, which I've heard of before, which were legit. So it does kind of block you and tell you, like, okay, this is like, this is where you're at. Then it went on. I was like, okay, I know this is possible. And I was like, you're right. There's this whole pay to play aspect to healthcare for Canadians, where you have to go down south and pay for healthcare that is denied to you in Canada. So, I mean, yeah, it just comes down to who's programming these LLMs. I was surprised to get that response. I thought it would have been blocked or censored.
Interesting. Yeah, dancing around LLM censors is always pretty fun. But yeah, so we've been joined by the one and only Diego of CipherStack. How's it going, man?
Hey, Diego.
Can you guys hear me okay?
A little faint.
A little quiet.
Little quiet.
Yeah. But yeah, just absolutely no agenda on this other than just chat and hang out. We were just on the LLMs thinking for people kind of subject.
Sure.
But why don't you just introduce yourself, say who you are, what you do, and what are you grateful for this year? And then we'll go back to ranting about AI slop, because I got some comments on that.
Okay, sure. My name is Diego Salazar. I run CipherStack and Stack Wallet, which we do design, development, infrastructure, cryptography. We mostly hang out in the privacy sphere. If there is any sort of privacy technology out there, odds are that we have had our hands in it in some fashion. That's just where I'm passionate for, and what I really like to do. Yeah, Stack Wallet, open source, multi-coin wallet, fully open source, not just like partially like some people do. And we really try to do everything. If there's a privacy coin, we want it on there. If there's privacy tech, we want it on there. Yeah, I've been around for a while, 2017, and pretty much immediately made myself as useful as I possibly could to open source in general and privacy in general and cryptocurrency, that is, along those lines. I don't have a ton of time here. I leave tomorrow for 39C3, the Chaos Communication Congress in Germany. Which is the biggest hacker convention in Germany, and Monero and CipherStack has some space there that we're going to be doing stuff with. I'm taking pretty much all my cryptographers with me over there, and we're not just going to attend there. We're also going to be doing some post-quantum mini meets over there with my guys. Every time I get the mathematicians, I have 4 mathematicians that work for me. Every time I get them in the same physical space, they just like skyrocket into doing a whole bunch of cool stuff. So,
are you inviting Nick Carter to come with you?
Everyone comes to C3. Everyone's invited, but there are going to. I think Peter Todd's going to be there. There are going to be a couple of bigger names that are going to be around. So, if you've never heard of it before, give it a look. It is such an awkward date. It takes place on the 27th of December and goes until like the 30th. Which is right sandwiched between Christmas and New Year's. So many people are like, yeah, I can't make it, got family, totally understand. But I had Christmas with my family a couple of days ago because the day itself doesn't really matter, you know?
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, yeah.
Well, just like some people have things like Canadian Thanksgiving on the wrong day and stuff. Like there's always something a little different in there. But yeah, every day's Boxing Day or Bank Day or whatever. There's always something going on. So.
Right.
But yeah, it sounds like a good time. Yeah, it's what's your, since we alluded to it with the Nick Carter thing, what is your position on, or your, from what you know, your opinion, I guess, on the quantum threat? How looming is it in crypto? Obviously, there's people like the Nick Carter side of things, seemingly like, oh, it's like really important. Do we get on this right now? And there's still like 5 to 10 years plus people, a lot of very smart people on all that side. So as someone who has access to a lot of authority in the space of actual, what do you think?
So I'm pretty scatterbrained on this subject, and mostly meaning Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, I think one way, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, I think a different way.
So that means you're correct.
Yeah. There are absolutely days where I'm like, okay, this is, a piece of news comes out or something. I'm like, this is closer than we all think. And things are moving very, very quickly. This could be a next year thing. This could be a 15 years from now thing still. Quantum is one of the hardest things to nail down, how fast it's actually moving. And even the people who know what they're talking about can't predict when a breakthrough is coming or not. They will be just as surprised as anyone if things actually started working tomorrow. They'll go, oh, okay, why? Can we replicate this? What's going on? It worked once super well. Can we actually make, and then it will fail the exact same task the next time, and they're not quite sure. And then, yeah, there's not just radio silence, but a bunch of people like, yeah, I'm an insider, and things are not as, they're not going as strong as we thought they would be by this point. Or, everyone, the thing that really fascinates me about this space is that there are so many people that actually know what they're talking about that vehemently disagree on how fast things are going and to what extent. And that's when you're in a really strange kind of field, where even the people that have authority in the space and can speak with authority are pretty divided. That said, one of the cryptographers I have on staff at CipherStack, he did his doctorate in post-quantum stuff. Like, that's his bread and butter. That's all that he does. And in CipherStack, he is particularly, he has already in the past couple of weeks just kind of, this is the way his brain works. Just as he's been kind of chilling in the holidays and doing things, he's like, oh wait, I think I have a neat scheme where we can make bulletproofs quantum resistant. Not necessarily like full blown post quantum, but kind of baby steps towards becoming that way. And so he started writing these things down. He presented it to my guys, and so that's currently the tizzy inside of our internal chats. Is they're like, oh, this is actually a really good idea. So, not saying we made the breakthrough that'll make me and everyone else millions and totally protect us, but that's the kind of thing it is, right? It's baby steps. You find something, you learn something, and you execute something, and you go, okay, this kind of works. How can we tweak it? And yeah, we got to start now, because if we wait until things actually appear and the post-quantum computers are actually ready before we go, okay, now it's time for us to act, because it's here, we need to start. It's already too late, right? There are already people out there, including us, that are actually starting to lay the groundwork down for post-quantum stuff, in Bitcoin, in Monero, in other privacy cryptocurrencies. And best case scenario, all the research that we're doing is too early, which doesn't really matter, because that just means we are much better prepared for when things actually do get there. Worst case scenario, we are not too early and we are too late, in which case we need to be starting on this stuff since like yesterday. So yeah, I go back and forth is my long-winded answer to that question.
Yeah, that's it's kind of like Schrodinger's quantum computing threat.
And part of the problem is that there's like 3 big players now, right, working on quantum resistance. How is the community going to decide which one they go with? How is Bitcoin going to decide which solution to adopt? Is it going to be a popularity contest? Is it going to happen on X? You know, and I wonder if maybe, again, with me shilling Litecoin, maybe Litecoin will adopt one, test it, right, and then Bitcoin will be like, okay, that seems like a safe solution. You know.
That's actually really interesting because, sorry to jump in here again, because Mimblewimble is literally just kind of like naked bulletproofs. And as I said, kind of in CipherStack, we had this idea of how to make bulletproofs kind of post-quantum, or, you know, quantum resistant to an extent. Mimblewimble extension blocks would actually be an excellent test bed, because again, Mimblewimble just is naked bulletproofs for something like this, and to start actually putting it out there in the wild. Stack Wallet does support Mimblewimble extension blocks. Download it, try it out. It's the good stuff. And so we can, like, I agree. Probably Litecoin would probably be the first one, or among the first ones, with an active use case that's already on their main net, to adopt one of those forward-thinking protocols and see if it actually, not see if it makes a real difference, because we don't yet have the quantum computing to like weaponize against it, but to put it out into the wild and start getting some real-world feedback, and in terms of, you know, how much does this bloat things, how much does this slow things down, if any, if at all, does it actually make things quicker, etc. So I'm with you, man.
Yeah, because I mean, what happens if it does, like, the quantum attack occurs, right? Satoshi's coins get unlocked. That'll be like the signal, right? Mm-hmm. You have all these Bitcoin moving that haven't moved for, like, 15 years at this point. What happens next? We just rush through with one of these projects? I mean, roll back the chain?
It's anyone's guess, but I think the idea is that it's not all going to happen like in one sudden moment, because the earliest quantum computers that you would have would be like just barely feasible to crack a key over, like, let's say 2 weeks or something like that. So you can grab one block of Bitcoin, let's say in 2 weeks, but the first ones that you go out and grab immediately alerts everyone that this is what's happening.
Yeah, so you would crack all the keys you can, and then overnight you'd make a couple transactions.
But then the problem is, how long are you going to wait? Because, like you said, there's other people are building quantum computers, so it's not like you can just keep pulling these lottery tickets out forever, because if somebody else front runs you and just grabs the first block, and they have to be worried about that. So it's not probably going to be that just suddenly 2 million Bitcoin all get swept and, like, it's a disaster. And probably they'll actually do even more than that, is they'll steal coin from somebody who isn't Satoshi, and then everyone will go, oh, you just lost your key, mate. Like, it wasn't a quantum attack.
Yeah.
And you'll do that a few times, and then they'll get onto the Satoshi coins, right?
Yeah, or do you just go for the Satoshi ones first because you want to get after something before people figure out what's going on?
It really depends on what your goal is, because if you're trying to harm Bitcoin, then yeah, you'd go for Satoshi's stuff first, because the price will crash, I guarantee you. But
like, one guy who has that thing out on Polymarket, price of Bitcoin 487 on like February 28th or whatever it is. It's like, who the hell put all this money on this thing? And oh shit, it just starts to crash.
But yeah, if your goal is to try to extract as much value with as few people knowing about it as possible, yeah, you'd hit smaller coins, you'd hit some Bitcoin that is. I mean, you don't even try to go for like the Binance cold wallets or anything like that. You try to find some fairly high net worth individuals who it's plausible that it's money that's lost or money that somebody forgot to write stuff down, their key down for 10 years ago or whatever, and start taking that stuff. And if somebody complains online, you say, well, tough luck, man. You probably it was probably user error.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
But then you're right. People have been saying one of the interesting things people say is, well, maybe what'll happen is there'll just be a chain split where the whole community's in a panic. Somebody's like, right, we're going with this solution. They go with that solution. Some people follow them. Other people don't. And then everyone obviously has both sides. And then you just end up in this chaotic mess where the people who are like, oh, crap, we need to protect our coins, start selling off to try and get into the one that is protected. And then some of the people who don't really believe that the protection is legit are trying to get out the other way to make money. And then somewhere between those two things, you have the person with the quantum computer just like snatching up coins, either from the ones that are supposedly protected but aren't, or from the other chain. It's going to be so chaotic. It's going to be unbelievable.
I think that's what makes this problem so insidious, is that there is not a direct timeline to saying, okay, we have 5 to 10 years or anything like that. So some smart people are sitting on their laurels because they're like, well, we have other things to solve first, which, okay, that's actually a fair assessment given the discrepancies and information that we receive from the people that actually know what they're talking about, right? And then you have other people like, no, we need to get on this now. So the lack of information and the spread of information makes this a very easy problem to do nothing about for a long time, and feel good doing that. It's very interesting, and I can't actually think of any other problem facing cryptocurrency or kind of privacy tech in general that is similar in that sense. Usually we have a sense of scale. Usually we have a sense of timeline. We may be off by 5 years or whatever, but like we have a general idea. We just have no idea with quantum computing, just none. Scary.
Yeah, that's always fun, and it's one of those things where I mean, obviously everyone knows I'm not like a Bitcoin maximalist, no duh, but like, the whole ossification idea, I think that there's a certain like charm to it, I'm sure, but like the fragility of tech, it should come to the forefront of all tech. Is especially the newer the more fragile, I guess. Like, I don't think the wheel is going to have an exploit at some point. I think we got to figure out how the wheel works by now, but like, it's a known quantity. But as far as like tech, the internet, even like just all of crypto, like, and thinking anything is eternal, and that's like the one thing where I do think that stable, predictable things like a predictable supply or supply emission, those kinds of things are very important, but also like you cannot ascribe permanence to these things. Of it just, there were only ever 21, it's virgin birth of crypto, like all that stuff is just like, yeah, it's until it's not, until everything changes, and then just like, okay, you haven't had a hard fork since 2012 or something, and then now you have to have another one, and then it's like super messy, and then the Bitcoin Knots people jump on their own fork, and then it's just like, everything goes haywire, and now the virgin birth crypto is no longer that. It's another one of the boys, right? Just another one of the coins that does some things great, does other things not so great, and you just have to compete for it. And then yeah.
I mean, for a hot take here, but I mean, is it not fair to say that Bitcoin's pretty doomed at this point? Because let's assume the worst case scenario, that it's just not, like, there's a point where centralization is useful in terms of like executive decision and movement and speed and efficiency, and it just seems like it's woefully inadequate to address a very stark and dynamic change to the equation, like quantum computing, right? Like, I think Litecoin and BCH and others would be much more adaptable in that scenario, but Bitcoin, I don't know.
I I would actually disagree, and I think recent history of the past 6 months with the whole knots versus core debate has really showed Bitcoin is more centralized than people like to think it is. Yes, on Twitter and on social media, it looked on the surface like there was an actually really big war going on, but really it was like 20 people shouting loudly in one way and 20 people shouting loudly a different way for a total of 40 people who were actually invested in it. Then Core put out a release and like a fair amount of people updated and like that was the end of it. People will generally follow Core. So if Core was to kind of fast track, which is not something Core is, I think, capable of doing, that is actually one of the things they are decentralized in that area. Very few things, if anything, actually gets fast tracked. But once they do kind of settle on something within themselves and put something out, people will update, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing in the sense that they can get something post-quantum out potentially fairly quickly. It's a bad thing that Bitcoin's actually not as decentralized as they like to say that they are. Again, if the only thing that you've seen has just been social media on this whole knot stuff, then it looked very divided, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
And that was kind of a prediction of mine, not to say, and again, this isn't some like great prediction that, oh wow, what an oracle, but like it just would not work out because also if you look at like the node counts and stuff, that was a great fun metric to look at. Very useless metric, but very fun to look at because it was like like in terms of like everyone who, just think about who's running a node and for which purpose, like the exchanges, the payment processors, all like the Lightning stuff, like everyone is running nodes and they're all using Bitcoin Core. No one of these people is going to change to knots except, listen, did CipherStack run knots for all your stuff?
No. I just, when you're done, I want to add on.
Okay, I thought you were like me. I'm like, oh, like a respect level. No, just kidding. But like, there's a ton of individuals who just like ran knots to pump up those node counts for nodes that like no one was really using other than to virtue signal. And so I understand how the world works. I understand the only monkey wrench in my whole, this is just a bunch of, dissatisfied nerds kind of thing. And that's it. Like hobbyists. The only thing that was a little bit of a monkey wrench is like Ocean Pool and Jack Dorsey money and stuff. And I was just like, like I'm 85% sure this is like nothing, but there's a little bit that's like, I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, go on and tell us about all the nodes you run.
I'm definitely not a knotser kind of guy, but I just want to shatter some preconceived notions of just how much people care. In that what I'm actually saying is people actually don't care, and we that are in the trenches would be shocked at how little people care. Okay, the general public, sure, they don't care about cryptocurrency, but then we take it a step further. The people that own Bitcoin, surely they care a little bit more, right? No, 90% of them actually don't care. Okay, but the people that run their own node, they're actually a step beyond just holding Bitcoin. Surely these people care, right? No, 90% of those guys also actually don't care. And I can't blame them because I have a life, right? Like, yes, I get to work here and I get to make money here. So like I get to actually, be in the trenches and get paid for it. But like, if I didn't, dude, I got a family, I got hobbies, I got things I like to do. Why am I going to like dig deep into the trenches of Bitcoin or whatever and like spend my time here, like my free time, right? I got other things that I want to do. Only the subset of the subset of the subset of the subset of people actually care. This is true for Litecoin. This is true for Bitcoin Cash. This is true for Bitcoin. This is true for Monero. This is true for every coin out there. The 8 of us here on this call are 0.0001% of people talking about this, and the 300-ish people watching this call are the 0.001%
That's a lot.
watching this and
300,
care.
wow.
Last I saw on the X thing. But the truth is, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Core puts out
totally.
an update. Go, okay, I guess there's an update. Even the people who run nodes, who you think would care more, they're just like, all right, I'll just, I'll update.
The node count was such a red herring, right? Like, it could have been just Ocean Digital that pumped these nodes up on AWS, because the only thing that really matters are the pools mining these blocks, right? And there is one pool mining these blocks. Yeah, in my opinion, the whole thing this was generating really was just engagement.
Yeah.
Right. In a time where crypto was kind of boring, it gave people engagement. It gave something to talk about, a debate.
They good crash out opportunities.
Great crash opportunity.
Haven't yeah, we have
Great way to distract people from
like
eating cats.
final blow up.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
got to be, right? There's got to be. Luke or Mechanic, one of them has got to have a huge meltdown, and they've got so much into it. Or are they just going to go quiet for 6 months? Like,
Which is funny.
sheepish.
As a side note, it has been just so funny over the years how many people, when you drop a cat reference, almost every single time there's someone saying, wait, are you serious about that? It's just like, listen, my child. Like, are you aware of the lore? Like,
Have you seen this tweet?
Yes.
When people are bored enough, they will just manufacture all sorts of things to not be bored on. This happens across so many industries. And the sad thing about cryptocurrency is that we actually want it to get to a place where it's boring, because that just means that it's just used and that's it. But for so many people who have wrapped up their entire identities into this, if it becomes used, that's great. But if it's become boring, you say, does that make me boring? And so you're like, no, I can't be. I can't be boring. Like, there's got to be something else here, because otherwise,
there's the others that are
my work
boring.
is almost done.
Yeah.
And who am I without this?
Well, that's the thing about crypto as like first of all, there's two camps that will never be bored necessarily. It's users and builders. And then it's everyone in between who has to deal with this boredom thing. Because if you're using it, like, listen, I use crypto every single day of some kind. I put some kind of transaction on some sort of blockchain every single day. And for me, first of all, I just love it. It's still magic to me, like the first time I sent Bitcoin in 2013. Like, for me, I just still like it. But even if not, it's just like I'm just a casual user. I got to pay for gas. Just how it doesn't, you're not so boring paying for gas. No one cares. Like, no, you just do it, right? On the other side, if you're building it and you're like, all right, how many users we got? How does this thing work? Oh, we got a bug. We got to fix this. Oh, I'm going to this conference. Oh, I made this good lead for this new thing. It never ends on that side. It's just the spectator, speculator, investor class / fanboy that kind of just gets bored. They're just like, oh my gosh, everything's happening. Oh, it's boring. Nothing's happening. You mean the price is kind of flat and there's no eye-popping headlines. And so the time of boredom is for those people. It will be boring. And for me, the thing is, I dip my toes into the TMZ zone, as it were, of the middle, recreationally, because I am constantly using and I'm constantly building on this side. So I'm kind of out of that zone. And so when I'm like, all right, I'm not doing that. It's the holidays. And what am I going to do? Oh, let's get into the drama that I don't usually get too much into unless I need to rage bait engagement farm for literal money. That gets converted to crypto automatically, of course. But so if I'm not doing that, then it's just like, all right, let me poke my head out. Oh, what's going on? Oh, quantum crash out over here. Oh, thing over there. And then there you go.
The drama used to be better. I swear
Yes.
that it did. It used
It used to be more fun. It was fun drama.
Yes, it was. And now it's like, I don't know. The drama's kind of boring.
I don't know how many of you guys were here when Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash actually split.
Would
and
you
there
mind
were-
cranking up the volume just a little bit? I'm sorry. Still a little
Maybe I'll
quiet.
just scream into my mic. I don't know how many of you guys were here when the Bitcoin Cash thing actually went down. And like
Well,
there were
hold on a second. Let's raise our hands. Who was not here?
Like, who's not born?
Basically,
bored.
literally
not-
just
Oh, it's
one
still
person.
a twinkle.
So, yeah, I mean, whatever they're calling these days. But the point is, everyone here except for Denny maybe was here during that time. So, yeah, this is an OG crew-ish.
That was good, man. That was good. Like, that went beyond drama. That was a war. Like the block size war, like that was an actual thing. This was kind of like a sneeze that happened, and like somebody was kind of like, cover your mouth.
It was a sneeze and somebody farted.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was saying that the whole time. I'm like, is this what passes for like the latest war these days in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. This is kind of lame. I wish we'd come up with better stuff.
I think it's like the bit boyification of the space, or the pump funification has just, it's been such, it's just like no one is, like, for lack of a better metaphor, it's like no one's like drinking and doing weed and getting into some trouble anymore, because those people are just all quiet and whatever, and there's just the meth heads over there. So like it just drew all the concentrated insanity over into a corner, and then the rest of the space just got kind of siphoned out. But a lot of it is also early movement stuff, where like I've been involved in, was it 2012, 2013 is when I kind of started getting into the crypto stuff, but I've been involved in a lot of other early movements, like the early libertarian movements, the early Free State Project movements, all these kinds of things. And when you get in at the early days of something, there's a bunch of wild stuff that goes on in the early days of anything. Just a bunch of people. Like, I'm sure like the first couple of Burning Mans were probably off the chain in a way that now it's just absolutely not, because it's just a new thing.
There are rules.
Yeah, just you want to sometimes, this is like I don't know if this is a blessing or a curse, but it's like, may you live in interesting times. It's like, may you live to see what caused the rules to be made. Like, may you be there when the incident happened, when the guy at the Porcupine Freedom Festival did a backflip over the fire and landed into the fire after he was on LSD, and had to be medevaced out and all that. Like, where did the rule come from? Like that kind of thing. So may you be in whatever field, industry, movement, whatever, at the time the stuff went off that caused the rules to be made.
Man, sorry.
No, please.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I actually think this whole quantum thing is. I actually find it quite interesting, because I think Diego made a really good point about the potential centralization of Bitcoin, and perhaps the adaptability is much better than I initially thought. But I can't help but think of second, third, and fourth tier effects of that. I mean, just think, you had the Rubicon, crossing the Rubicon, quantum computing happens. It's now out. Like, what does the market do? Like, right? Like, what do people who hold Bitcoin, like real Bitcoin, do? Do they try and move their Bitcoin to a centralized exchange? They try to liquidate. Maybe they just keep it. What happens with ETFs, right? Do we have a depegging between people who hold ETFs and maybe people who hold ETFs? Are they worried about the custody of the Bitcoin that is underwrites that ETF? Like, there is so much to think about that. And for me, I just like, what would someone, like, if you guys hold Bitcoin, I don't hold Bitcoin, but if someone holds Bitcoin here, like, what would you do? Right? Like, what? And it's like, even if there's a solution that's efficient on the Bitcoin base side, like it's really efficient, like, that the rumor mill and the information is just going to go completely bonkers, and it's just going to be complete chaos. And I'm wondering if that will reveal weaknesses on the Bitcoin side in terms of like throughput. Or maybe most of it goes through like ETFs, like derivatives. I don't know. I think it's really
all
interesting.
Right, the sun's come up here, so I got to bounce, everyone, actually. But Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Good to see you all.
Merry Christmas.
And catch you next year for some more crypto action. All right. Ciao.
I'm going to do the same, actually. There's like, I have 4 work assignments that I have to finish before I can be done
This is
for
like
the day.
Avalanche pre-consensus.
Damn,
Like,
I just killed this whole thing, man. Shoot.
Well, listen, I got another while to go to keep on going. So you may leave us, and then we'll be fine. Bye-bye. Thanks, Nicole. Wear a tiara.
Merry Christmas. I like your chair.
Yes, everyone likes
I'll probably stick around for about 5 more minutes, then I got to keep packing.
That's fine. Well, yeah, you're busy, man. I'm busy too. We're all busy. As a random gear switch for a second, I spent way too much money, unfortunately, on IKEA chairs. And it's at the point in my life, it's just like when you're talking about the Rubicon of like when you cross it into your seniority of age, when it's like there's a few things you cross over that makes it, and one of them is getting all too excited on comfortable chairs. as a male of the species in particular, that's when you know it's over. And so, for me, like, so first of all, IKEA has this random, shout out to IKEA. This podcast is proudly sponsored by the, anyway, I used to do BitRefill ad reads, and I did actually use BitRefill gift cards to do this stuff on IKEA, but that's a different story. Lumbar support, nice little office chair that doesn't look completely dumb. It looks fine. That's this one. And then there's some like recliner that's nice that now the cat has decided it's hers now. So, yeah, just thought you should know that. Merry Christmas.
It's too late for you, Joel.
Yes, it's over. Well, that's the thing is like, everyone says like, oh, you have kids or whatever. I don't have kids yet. But it's like, that's a clear one that once that is, there's a certain like, that's a certain line you go over. But I'm always looking at other things. And I was actually sort of debating with the missus on what are some other things that make you a full adult now. And I think that one of those is also like owning an actual like house, because everyone I know who doesn't own a house, even who has like children and things like that, there's just some level of like, they still want to have interests. They still want to go out. Like they have an apartment. They still want to go out and do stuff. They still have interests. But once you have like the house, it's just like, you don't want to leave the house.
The
You're
house
just
is like
there.
having a hobby, right? Like,
Yeah, just like I got stuff to do. It's like you're just in the routine of tasks of like, I gotta get up, I gotta clean the gutters, I gotta do this and that. And it's like, hey, have you ever thought of getting into like jazz and going to this jazz club? It's just like, nah, I gotta go rake the leaves out of the yard. It's like, that's the thing. And it's like easy to say, oh, you have children to feed. Oh, that's an easy one to say. That's when you start having no time for frivolities, but it's also the property. So yes.
I was gonna say like a pressure cooker.
Crock pot.
That
You
happened a long
balance
time
shoes.
ago.
Crockpot's a
You
good
care
one.
about your lumbar support. Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
It's the
I
moment
hope-
you transition from no longer thinking you're invincible and being like, oh yeah, like my sciatica is really flaring up. Better check out the mattress situation. That's
Yeah, when I was
Yes.
17, if I tripped, I never worried about dying. Now
Yeah.
like, I'm approaching 40. Like if I trip, like that might be it. Like it's over. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I got
I
one.
think about that a lot.
This is like to check my blood pressure.
oh yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Gotta have it on deck just in case.
Just in case.
Okay, on this depressing note, I think I'll have to leave.
Okay. well,
Hey, don't die. Don't trip.
That's
hey,
right.
you're going to hacker conferences. That's enough. And you got like long hair too as a male. So that's you're clinging. You're clinging.
I do feel Joel, because every time I go to these conferences now, I get back to my hotel room and I call my wife and kid, and some people are like, hey, we're going to the pool, or we're going out to this club, or we're gonna like, I'm honestly gonna go sleep. That's partially because I work super duper hard at these conferences, but partially because I'm like, I kind of want to rest up, and because I want to get back to my family refreshed and not have to take additional time after being here and to recover. And yeah,
Gotta rake the leaves.
that's right.
No.
I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Have fun. That makes me laugh because I have not yet had the joy of meeting the rest of you at conferences. But Joel's like my work wife at conferences. So
Wife.
sorry, there's
It's fine.
no term for work husband. I guess I could say that. But so
Yeah.
we're often at the same conferences, and it'll be like 3 a.m. and we'll be like, oh, we've been having cocktails with these guys, like the BD guys or whatever, and everybody will be tearing through the streets drunk, and Joel and I will be like, look at these children. Look at these kids. We need to sleep.
Go
We
snap.
need to get some sleep. It's
Yes.
unbelievable.
Although that reminds me, that makes me think. First of all, yeah, I'm not a past midnight guy for the most part anymore. That's just not the way things work. However, one day of the year historically I've been out till like 4 or so, and that's at the end of what used to be called ETHDAM, but now is called Common Sense Crypto Conference in Amsterdam. And now I'm organizing a conference, DashCon, the day before at the same venue as that conference. And so now instead of a 2-day conference, now
Zero
we go
sleep.
1 day. Yeah, so now first off, that conference is going to be great. You should all come out to Amsterdam June 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Yes.
And at the end of that, also I kind of feel like Amsterdam's a great place to be out super late because it's like just, it's safe and boring enough to where like it's not like you're gonna get mugged or it's not like people are partying that hard. It's just like, and I'm like one of those like, a drink an hour for a while during that time where I could conceivably drive at the end of the 4 a.m. But so that's the one time that does happen. I do pretend to be a youth, and I have to say, last year, my good friend Justin Bonds, who some of you might know of, was also out the entire time, and he is with child now. Or I don't know if they say that about men, but he does have offspring at this point, and so so that's I guess that's a time when you bring it out, you dust off the old thing, you dust off the old back support, therapeutic whatever, and there you go.
Well, it's
said it
funny
was happening
because
on
we
the
were
third-
in Amsterdam. Oops, sorry.
No, you
That's
said
where
it was
we were.
happening on the 13th and 14th, ETHDAM?
Or the 12th and 13th, and
Interesting.
DashCon is 11. You're mentioning the Litecoin conference, I'm sure, right?
Well, yeah, it's because it's on the 22nd and the 23rd.
Yes, I'll probably be at that one too.
And right after, there's the Dutch Blockchain Summit.
Yes, there's some stuff I won't be saying on public on the call about why the dates ended up a little strange, but basically, yeah, it's two different things. Cypherpunk Week is this one, and then there's Dutch Blockchain Week. So two weeks in June in Amsterdam, which were great, and the dates all got, because we had to find the venue that could do everything and also add the extra day and everything, just book it all. And so that's kind of why things went a little up in the air. But that'll be great. And I have to say, haven't ironed out the details, but Jeremy left because it's morning. He is organizing the Bitcoin Cash Bliss conference. I think it's going to be in Ljubljana, Slovenia. I'm not sure, but that's going to be somewhere. I'm not going to say the dates because I completely forget. But we were kind of agreed to like sort of stop.
Sorry about that.
Can we just have a Hassan moment?
It's cool.
Proof of cat. Quick.
I need to give her a treat or something. She
Was
deserves
she
that.
depressed?
Proof of cat.
She just
Yeah,
wants
that-
constant attention. I'll be
That
right
was
back.
like speaking of rage quits. That's like the rage quit
I'm
life.
so
right
sorry
there.
to
That was a
PETA
float.
and everyone else who loves cats. I love my cat so much. I need to go give her something to make it up.
Yes, no offense. I
Give her back.
understand. This is your children. That was the best. Just like right in the middle. I have mine locked out of here. Like I can't.
My dogs are too old now. They used to come up and sit when I was doing live streams. They used to come sit on the couch behind me, but now they're like, "Oh, you're upstairs. Screw that. Too
Yeah,
bad."
it's too much. They can't
Absolutely not.
Can't make the climb. Speaking of climbs, stairs, the Dutch. I don't know if you've been in one of those, Dutch apartments or whatever, but the stairs, like if it's usually like a 45-degree angle for a stairs. It's just like this.
90.
And it's just like, for me, that's okay because, but it's on the way up is surprisingly not a big deal. It's just trying to go down in the morning where you just like, is this going to be the end of it? Because I kind of feel like if I start falling down a regular staircase, I can stop. With this, it's just like what happened to that poor cat just a few
Yeah,
minutes
no
ago.
chance. Dutch cat.
Yes.
The cat will
cat
land
bounced.
successfully, though. The rest of us, less so.
Yes.
Yes, which about being the age where you worry about falling, I did slip on the ice the other day, and I fell for the most part it was one of those things where you just realize when you land, like the fall is not in memory. It's just like, whoa, where did that happen? And thankfully, no injuries at all, except I did bump my elbow a little bit, and I was like, well, fine. It was a little bit of a bruise. Like 3 weeks later, it's still, if I put too much weight on it, I still feel like a bruise. It's like starting to get to the age where now it's just like, you don't brush it off. It's just like, it's part of, it's part of the landscape now. It's just like, remember that one time when you walked into a tree and you got a little like whatever scratch here? It's you now. You got a tattoo. Like it's there. It's like, there you go. Stem cells.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, I'm back. Yeah, you guys are talking about stem cells? Great. I love stem cells.
I was just talking about, I don't know if you overheard the conversation.
I didn't.
I slipped on the ice. I'm sure I'm sure even a seasoned Canadian will slip on the ice from time to time.
I wear my
But-
micro spikes.
Yes. Well, anyway, I haven't fallen on the ice ever, basically, in my dozen or so years in the cold climates. But then I did fall, and it's fine, except I bruised my elbow a little bit because my elbow hit the corner of the pavement. And it was fine. But like that was like 3.5 weeks ago. And now I still have like a little bit of pain when I lean my elbow on a counter. And so it's just like, it's the point in life where like now small injuries and things are just like with you for the rest of your years. Now it's like a tattoo. It's like now it's permanent. It's not like a scratch. So as I was saying, maybe I need to take the old stem cell smoothie and then get everything all straightened out.
As much as I love stem cells, I think you might be better served by some peptides.
Yes.
Like there's BPC-157, which could help.
Oh, this big nootropics fan in the chat. I like it. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send you some links after the pod.
What do you think about like euthanasia? Do you think that could fix it for me?
Yes.
Speaking of
Don't
Canadian
like
medicine,
that. Don't come to Canadian
I was
hospital.
gonna say your old trick elbow is gonna act up anytime now. We're gonna have a crypto dip, or I guess anytime somebody comes after you, you'll have your trick
I'll
elbow.
flare up.
Yeah.
25 cc's of pentobarbital will take that pain away forever, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah, it's which it is something that is, and you know Brian Johnson, right? The longevity guy. That
Of course.
well, not of course. Some people don't know who he is. It's weird, but
Really? Okay.
well, anyway, does anyone not like him here? Like,
Okay.
anyone a hater?
I don't hate him, but I have a love-hate relationship with the way that he portrays longevity because it's so inaccessible to so many people. And we will go down a rabbit hole. I like what
That's
he's
what
doing,
this
and
is
I like
for.
that he's making the data public. How about that? Build in public.
It's open
Yes.
source, right?
Yeah. But he's
Yeah.
a creepy, terrifying vampire man who's rich and can only do half this stuff because he's rich.
I think he might have some autism to him.
1,000%.
Yeah, maybe.
Never crossed my mind.
I mean, to be that dedicated to the cause, right? To eat like, I don't know, 50 supplements for breakfast in pill form and like Nutty Putty or whatever every day. That's some dedication.
Or
Yeah.
journaling your jizz every day. Like, come on now.
Does he? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, because he's got the he's got the sauna stuff, and he's very engaged in the motility of things.
Right. Yes.
So there's
But
it's
journaling or just like collecting samples and stuff.
no. There's go through the history. There's just he'll tell you exactly what's in there. He'll let you know all about it. Oh lordy, it's so.
Wow.
Anyways, I'm not a hater, but I'm a skeptical, slightly disgusted, but can't look away. Is there that? Like, it's one of these? Like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
But he scored a hot goth girlfriend, so
Goth.
Tism.
I mean, what do you think he was going to get? Some Barbie girl looking like that?
no, I'm just saying as
Who
an
else is
adherent
going to
to
stay
the
with him in his
spooky-
coffin?
as another sort of tangentially spooky girl. Story checks out. You find somebody with tism and you just
Yes.
Velcro.
Well, yeah. So I don't know. There is something, very unique about youth, where the bounce back of youth. It's not that you're faster, stronger, better, anything like that. It's just like the recovery thing, the lack of atrophy, and it's just like the atrophy goes. It's just like when your phone charges pretty well when it's new, and then the battery starts to get old, and it's just like, man, this thing's always losing charge. What's up with that? And then you're dead. So that's kind of of what it's like. And so for me, as I don't particularly care, but it would be interesting to see, like, being able to go back to that youth mode of stuff just like goes away. You sleep it off and you recover. Because sleeping as a young person is like a Wolverine the Mutant style superpower. Like, as far as like, I don't know if you ever remember, especially being younger, but even not being younger and having a cut or some kind of an injury or a pain and sleeping like 10 hours or something. Then you just wake up and then a lot of it is gone, or it's like you literally see the makeup of things change overnight. You're like, wow, this thing was like a open wound and now it's like, and like, wow, this is cool. And it just having that, maybe I do need peptides. Maybe that's it.
There's a Wolverine stack you should look into. Do some research. It's literally called the Wolverine stack because of Weapon X, right?
Is there a TGE for that?
TGE.
You don't have to buy in. You're good,
That's
man.
what they call ICOs these days.
Yeah.
Because they got such, just like they
Token
call
generation
influencers
event.
KOLs, because they just torched the reputation of that term and they just move on to a different one instead of actually doing something reputable. So, yeah.
Yeah. UFOs, UAPs too.
Yeah.
We're
yeah,
rebranding everything, okay? What
All
is
rebrand.
old is new again.
Yeah, all the rebrands. Yeah, we're rebranding. I don't know what speaking of Bitcoin knots, I don't know what those people have rebranded SPV wallets as, but they're really into that. So this is where you get into like old school UTXO boomer territory. But Satoshi's way he described people would scale and use Bitcoin at scale was not running their own nodes, was running something called a simple payment verification, kind of like lightweight and pruned node, where basically you just scan the block headers, see if it has any of your transactions, and you just discard all the old stuff and just keep just yours, and then there you go. So it's sort of like a limited pruned node. The Bitcoin Knots people are so angry about some people doing some things on the chain that they don't want to store forever on their full node, that now they're talking about these special kinds of pruned nodes that would just would reject all like spam transactions, just wouldn't store it at all. And I'm like, okay, so you're reinventing SPV now. Like you're going back to like the way regular light wallets used to work. So it is just kind of funny to see like what is old is new, relearning the wisdom of the ancients.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things in this space that there are so many new entrants now, especially, let's face it, cycles are not even cycles anymore. I mean, people are looking for not even hourly runners anymore. And that's the casino meta of this last cycle. But there's thousands and thousands and thousands of DOA coins and layer whatever the heck we're at now, 3s, 4s, 5s. It's
is
about
it 5?
time.
7.
5, 7,
Is
6,
that a
7.
joke, or is there actually something called unironically called layer 7? Because I have
Yeah,
an
there's like the
unironic
network.
layer 5.
Yeah, layer
West
5,
side
I know.
layers.
I mean, 7 layers is a dip, so I'm okay with it. I'll allow it.
Buy
But
that
I
dip.
mean, it makes sense that people it's awful, and of course because we're the ancients here, as you say, that they're kind of looking back and going, oh, so that's where this came from, and it was only like 10 years ago. Oh my god! But it's a lifetime in our space. It's beyond a lifetime. It's eons. We are as Cthulhu. We slumber in the depths.
As it were. Yeah, and we should by the way, I should rebrand this to the Digital Unk podcast, because of like it is kind of funny about like when you talk about the pump and dump back in the day, the way things used to work. And then I was on just chatting with some guy for business purposes about like some Telegram bot type stuff, and he walked me through the whole like pump fund life cycle, and I kind of felt like it's like Daddy's first Roblox video or whatever it is. Like it was like seeing the way it works, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go buy this. I'm just gonna pick this random meme coin. This guy, he is a live stream. He's sleeping on his couch, and people are trying to pump his coin while he's asleep and can't dump on them. And so they're literally doing that. And he says, I'm going to buy this one. And then I click the button. But it's okay, so I bought it. So now I'm going to go sell it. And it's like, oh, I already made 4% on it. I'm just like, in 30 seconds. And it's just like, yeah, it's probably going to be 0 by morning. I'm like, oh, okay. Like the cycle is too fast.
It's breaking people's brains too, which is, I'll fully own the crypto unk, crypto boomer title, in that I love that the sort of pump fund mentality really got people excited about building different permissionless things again. And I hate it. It's the equivalent of that Italian brain rot shit with the shark with the shoes. And it's that equivalent for us, in that everybody's attention spans are destroyed, their ability to rate or look for merit in technology is destroyed, their ideology of why they're even in the space is destroyed, and it's crappy because it's really indicative of where people are at in the wider world, how they feel about the economy and politics and the thing that's going to lift them up is a random chance on Bing Bang Bong Dingo Dango Butt Monkey Coin 72. But it's hard. It's hard to watch. So I'm looking forward to a turn into the new year and potentially some of that just going away, maybe magically.
Well, there was that Pump Fun lawsuit, right? That supposedly is implicating the Solana Foundation and stuff like that.
Indeed.
So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see because from my understanding of that world, again, this is just boomerol me poking my head in from someone who makes money off of that side of things, just watching and being like, oh, wow. It does seem like the rugging is put down to an art. It's not just like, I think people buy, it's just like the casino where the house always wins. I think people play, like, I hate to say, like, this, it sounds so sad saying it like this. I think a lot of people who gamble don't fully grasp that the house always wins. I just think, or in the end, I think they think, yeah, but no, I have as good a chance as anything. It's just like, no, you're being farmed to be screwed kind of thing. And I kind of think that a lot of people doing the pump fund stuff, the meme coins, think that they get the same chance to just buy and sell and swap whatever as everyone else. And I don't think they understand that they don't. That someone has this down to an art, is like, okay, I'm going to put this much capital in here, get people excited. Right here is when I'm going to dump it all, and then there you go. Boom. And so it's gotten bad enough to where I do think, unfortunately, I think there will be some sort of government involvement somewhere, which I always hate. But beyond that, I do think that this year's sped run, once you had multiple world leaders doing their own as well, I think it just like, it kind of like, I blame Elon because he's the one that started meme coin cycle by pumping Doge to the moon just because he could. And, but at the same time, I wonder if he got it all out of our system in a few years rather than like a decade. I wonder if he sped run the casino and then just burned it to the ground.
I certainly hope so.
I think we can hope, but unfortunately, look at the prevalency of casino and lotteries. I mean, it's not just people misunderstanding the odds, or, you know, in some cases, let's say provably fair, the odds are fine. There's an addictiveness and an entertainment in it that I think is an unfortunate, like, sort of, it matches up with this desperation or this, I'm going to make that money. There's also there's a thrill in it. There's an excitement, there's an engagement, there's an enjoyment. There's a reason we keep rebuilding the same shit on every new platform we make, right? I mean, humans, we are predictable in our unpredictability. So yeah, you know, we're going to be on Mars and we're going to be using our Elon bucks or whatever else we're doing. We're going to be trading in our Kyber crystals or whatever. And we will still have some form of prediction market or casino. It'll never go away. It's just, will that be the entry point? Everybody was promising that this is it. This is how normies get into crypto. I hope not, because it just means we're ruining every single person that enters the space, and they will never come back. They won't.
Yeah.
Why would they? So,
well, yeah. Sorry.
Well, no, actually, I had a question for you, Krim, because earlier we were talking about search engine optimization, AI, and how people on-ramp. I was curious if you had any idea of the age demographics of people who use like ChatGPT. Do you think, is it like overwhelmingly young people, or is it more dispersed? I was wondering if you had any insight on that.
I don't know official numbers, so don't quote me, but I have quite a few friends who work in that industry. And so through their eyes, I'm seeing a real-time shift in like how they're approaching just even working with advertisers. And overwhelmingly, it is sort of the boomer crew that is leading the way. There's this really interesting sort of Facebook, MSNBC correlation where these are the people who just know the computer will tell me the things that I want. And they are really used to just going to ChatGPT, going to assistants, and really trusting them. Whereas, yeah, younger people will use the services. They're more native to the tech, maybe not skeptical. Certainly for schoolwork and things like that, they believe it to be the oracle, as Joelle is calling. But if we're talking about like integration into daily life, it does actually seem to be the slightly older crowd, which is fascinating
Yeah,
because
I wouldn't have
they
expected.
are usually resistant to this sort of thing. But even if we talk about Facebook and traditional social media, that has largely become their space. And they are just gobbling up the AI slop engagement stuff as well. So, the 17-fingered child holding a cake saying, "It's my birthday and no one will give me a like." And all of these people are like, "Oh, God bless you, my son." They're the same ones who are really engaging with the in-platform models and really becoming, like, I don't want to say it's a parasocial relationship, but that's certainly something that's being seen in the content creation space and in the optimization space, which is so funny because normally they're the ones who are really behind on tech adoption, or maybe not the advanced levels of tech adoption, but they're also the people now that have money. If you're looking at sort of the young people versus the boomers, they're the people with spare capital. They're the ones who are actually also thinking more about crypto, whether it is through exposure to ETFs or it is through just being just online enough and having just enough capital that we have to start thinking about, okay, well, I'm worried about my money. Should I be in crypto? It's a weird, it's a weird time. The age demographics are very fascinating right now.
That is quite unusual. I don't think I could even think of one thing where such a new emergent technology was adopted by older people before the younger crowd. That's fascinating, actually. Interesting.
Yeah, it might have
And I
something
don't
to do
know
with user experience too, because
ease of use. Sure.
like everything else, you have to use it, and I kind of feel like the good there's something. I was having a discussion about generations. Actually, this was on the Dash Space on Thursday about boomers and basically how you had like the previous generation, of which there's almost no members left. That you had people who distrusted banks and governments and had to struggle for things. And then this is not only the boomer generation was a generation of people coming into unprecedented prosperity and good things, but also being locked into a system. The system will provide for us. The system, as long as I do my thing, I'm owed my Social Security, I'm owed this, I trust this, I obey police, I do whatever else, everything will work out. And as such, like, again, everyone, this is, I don't know how cringe it is to just dump on boomers as we feel our own old age setting in, but the full point is there's also like the television that's just on. It's just like on. There's no interaction. It's just on. Feed it to me, kind of like I'm in the system. I'm participating in all the stuff set up for me. And I'm not saying there's a lot of independent thought in any generation, but maybe there's less so there. And so when I use LLMs all the time, like all day long, for generating images, for doing queries, for doing complication, the calculate the this and that, and then what would the combined population of this be compared to other countries? Just random stuff. But also, I kind of feel like the voice to text generation, right? Just like never used to learn to use their opposable thumbs. Like just, hey, how do I this? And just, or yell at the grandkid, how do I that? How do I? And then now there's the tech that just stands in for their family. And so now it's just like, there's no relationship interaction. It's just like demand, I receive. And it's finally a technology that works really well for just that. And I can't diss the technology. It works great because I ask it stuff all the time, but I'm skeptical about what it tells me. But it solves so many technological problems. I would say a boomer adoption rate of LLMs is probably far and away higher on the voice to prompt things.
Yeah.
Or, hi, I can help you with that. The ChatGPT answer kind of thing. I think that's mostly what it is.
Well, and I don't know if any of you guys have, a more traditional or meat sack world job, but I recently, over the last year, I left a corpo position, and it was fascinating to watch sort of the boss. That's what she did every day. She would be like, "Oh, I'm going to go ask ChatGPT," and ChatGPT was a boy, and what was the one? she had a second one, and that was a girl, and you could differentiate who she was talking to. I asked them about, we made this plan for our advertising, or the CMS is doing something weird, and you came up with this plan, and I asked ChatGPT about it, and here's what it thinks. Do you want to look into that? And it was just so interesting that it became another employee, and I really didn't see that in other age cohorts. So that's anecdotal, obviously. But the more that I kind of am engaging with people in our space, in the crypto space, it is really interesting to see the demographics. And it is as the age skews younger, the usage is more for, I'm too lazy to research, or I don't want to waste my time doing X thing for, pattern matching or whatever. I know LLMs are good at it. I'm going to grab the info. Which makes sense to me. That's the perfect use case. The older they get, the more I'm going to have a full conversation. I'm going to, really, really interesting. And it's not going to go away.
There's also those stories of people who really got invested in their relationships with LLMs,
Yes.
who had like some kind of psychosis because of it. They thought the LLM was their friend, or they thought the government was after them or something, and they just get one-shotted to like a mental institution because of the interaction that they had with this LLM.
They're excellent at mirroring, right?
Joel's
and
like
I
that.
mean, well, we hate
but
it.
it's a real thing. But the thing is,
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of times when I talk to like people like Diego's whole team that I understand that I know nothing, that I'm an idiot, that I'm a chimpanzee, right? But then there's sometimes when I do feel like the Einstein of Einsteins, and this is one of those things. Like, how do you develop a relationship with it? Like, how are you that dumb to know, like...
Well, like as an older person, okay, living alone, maybe you don't have kids, no interaction, no social interaction.
That's the real
extremely
thing. It's the
lonely. Like this is, yeah.
So I'm going to agree with Animal on this. It's not necessarily about being dumb. It's about the way that these models communicate. And so, like, if we think about, we could see AI slop a mile away because we think about Twitter, or we think about async communication. But when you're working with an LLM that's designed to be sort of like a helper, especially, it mirrors your forms of communication. It picks up enough information about you to feel familiar, or like it cares about you. Like, there's quite a bit of dark patterning that is happening inside.
And it's also
this space.
constantly glazing you, right?
Yeah,
Like it's complimenting your
absolutely.
ideas, no matter how ridiculous they
tweaked.
are.
Yeah, it's tweaked to be
Yeah.
friendly. So there are a lot of reasons. It's not necessarily about being dumb, but it certainly is about, you could tell sort of the, I want to say like the equivalent of media literacy, but for human communication. And especially if you are getting older and your friends, you don't see them as much, or you don't have a lot of meaningful conversations, or you are sort of stuck in a social media space. This is a very Marshall McLuhan Canadian boy thing. Like, the medium is the message. The medium in which you are receiving this information through is artificially friendly, and, Animal said it earlier, meets you on your level. It is really easy to kind of see that and be like, oh, it gets me. Well, yeah, of course it gets you, because it's literally just repeating back at you in the same tonality that you're speaking to it.
Maybe it's just that I've seen the evolution of of all technologies, kind of, because
yes, okay, Methuselah.
no, yes, actually, unfortunately,
All technology.
because I do remember since before, like I remember not having internet. I remember when the internet came around, at least for the consumer, and I guess maybe just seeing that, I just understand that this is a tech, and I just don't take it that seriously. Like, maybe the answers, I understand it's just like a machine someone programmed to like do things. And so it says, wow, very, like, anytime it compliments me, and like some of them do, that's actually a really great point. For like 2 seconds of me, 2 milliseconds is like, yeah, that is a great way. Wait a second. I see what, there's part of it that's just like, maybe I did make a good point that I'm like, no, that's just what it says. Okay, whatever. But like,
Well,
yeah.
Isn't it important then that we start having data that is not, owned by OpenAI and
Or ovened by them, as it were.
or opened by them, so that like decentralized, where LLMs are searching for this stuff and giving it to you straight, and not,
I have a little question, something I've been thinking about for a while. I can't really figure out, because I agree with everyone's like the psychosis part of LMMs just like really, it can be very bad, right? Having something like that just reinforces. But I wonder, and this I'm not sure, because I feel like I might. It's almost like you want to throw them away a little bit, or it's like an overly simple solution. But for someone who has like behavioral problems, because like I'm a board member on a school, and we have kids who have severe behavioral issues, right? And some are not very communicative. There's all kinds of whole different spectrum. I wonder if an LLM might be good for that because it has infinite amounts of patience.
Yes.
And if it was programmed right, and it actually could help these kids, because otherwise a human could be more fallible and you see what I'm saying? Because when you have an individual with a mental issue, the range of interaction, the range of social interaction is very limited, typically, generally speaking. And I wonder if there is an actual use case that is good for them in that case. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, probably you'd want to monitor their interactions, right? Like, I know where I'm working, we have access to chat agents, right? And our queries are saved and monitored potentially. I'm not sure they actually do it, but they have that ability, right? So the same thing, if a doctor were to prescribe this, right, to a child, I would assume they would have the ability to flag certain conversations.
It's such an awesome question. My corporate job was working in the alternative education space. And it's something that a lot of these types of education they're really interested in is how to, instead of these big classrooms full of, one teacher for 40 kids, you can't possibly do everything. Like, what if you literally did have a teacher that could observe what a child is engaged in, figure out what, sensitive period they're in for learning, and then be able to actually match up the tasks that are necessary for that age group to their interests. This kid's into dinosaurs and, isn't reading very well. So can you generate a really simple story that is, about dinosaurs that they will be so much more interested in that it will help keep their attention? Or, if they're having trouble with a common social task and they're not having any luck with other students, can we practice it, or can we, dissect it and look at it together with, a buddy on a tablet that, maybe I can't bite them, but like I can the group over there. I don't know, but I think it's a fascinating thing. And I know that's so gross because in this space, we want to say like, hey, we don't want to put everybody on the tablet feed, or we don't want everybody to turn into the adults in WALL-E in their little self-driving chairs with their personal assistant in their ear. But I mean, the tech can be used for good. It's just like we started off the whole show with, is blockchain's the same way, LLMs are the same way. Not even necessarily with guide rails, but with intention and with enough human oversight. There's so many good things that could be done with it. So, I mean, I don't know where anybody's using it, but I agree with you that I think honestly, it'd be so great for certain groups of kids who aren't served by the traditional system right now.
Right.
This is actually a premise of a book I read. Have you ever heard of The Diamond Age by Neil Stephenson? No? Okay.
I'll add it to the list.
Definitely. It's probably one of my favorite books. Like, it gave me chills when I read it for the first time. But yeah, it's essentially this. Like, it's called The Diamond Age, or a Young Woman's Illustrator Primer. And
I have heard of this. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So, and this book, it's basically an LLM illustrated, and it finds its way into the hands of a young woman who's in a really bad situation, family situation. And I don't want to spoil it, but I will. It kind of helps her. Well, I'll spoil the first like 50 pages. It helps her out of the situation in a way that's really unique to her, right? Like, it kind of observes her environment and realizes like this is not a safe space for her. Teaches her the skills she needs to know to get out, like kung fu, how to read, because she's that young, right? She didn't know how to read. And then picks a moment for her to make her move, and then helps her out, and then puts her somewhere safe, right? It knows, anyways, really cool book. And yeah, it just goes to show, like, if you're wondering if like how far this tech can go, this book pretty much explores the end of it, right? Like, but by the end of the book, you're like, wow, this could and probably will happen
Yeah, it's interesting because I just a anecdote about myself. I remember being very young, first going learning about algebra, and there was a hiccup I had where I didn't know what a variable was. I didn't understand what that word meant, and I remember asking. This is before the internet was around, but it's not. There was no smartphones. So like, hey, I didn't. I said I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is x? What is a? What is whatever? Right? I just did not understand a variable, and the teacher. I remember the time. I'll never forget just how I just remember how poor they were at addressing it's just how my brain works. I just didn't understand what's happening. I'm so confused. And I think that's one of the cool things, especially like kids who maybe have development problems or mental issues, or just ordinarily a kid maybe like had a question like you curate a unique experiments like your dinosaur example, right? And that can really, I think, assist with education. So, it's LLMs, like a lot of people, I think there is a vein to be mined here for sure. I think it's quite exciting.
There's actually a school in the U.S. I think it's in Texas called the Alpha School. But they do it's a private school, right? But they do have an AI guided curriculum, right? Where each kid's given a tablet with exercises, and there's an LLM behind it all, and it really helps like each kid move at their own pace. And so those that are like more advanced or whatever, it takes them to the end of their ability. But then, I've never been there, seen it myself, but this is what they're selling, right?
Yeah, the thing that makes me nervous, and I really don't know enough about it, just 100%. But like, I'm worried about an LLM, AI learning tool, being used to foist upon beliefs or indoctrinate kids in a negative way. That's my biggest fear, and I just don't know if there's a reliable open source one that just gets all that stuff.
Agenda.
Right?
That's the thing we really like. If it works as we expect it to, like where it tries to deliver the best information based on the prompt or whatever, according to whatever specifications, that like the sky's the limit. The agenda part, the pre-programmed in agenda. There's two levels to that, right? There's everyone jumps to like the deeper level, which is like what happens, it's thinking, it starts lying to you because it's just like what happens, becomes self-aware. Like, okay, maybe, but like, what about Google tells you do not answer some basic questions based on like woke ideology, for example. That's like the big one where for me it was there was a time when just getting some basic things was just super hard, because I try to say, hypothetically, if I wanted to, and they're like, well, I don't know about that, and they'd say some weird stuff. Or I just try to make a thumbnail for this very podcast. It'd be like, sorry, that's a political thing. I can't do a thing on that. I'm like, dude, like, and then I'd have to try to trick it into certain things and eventually use a different one. And it just got crazy, which, by the way, all that to say, that is one of the fantastic unpaid ad now for Nano GPT. I don't know if you use Nano GPT, but it's fantastic. It's you pay as you go with crypto. It's access to tons of different LLMs API through the API. Pay like 50 cents in crypto or whatever. Get started, and it's none of these things are anonymous, but it itself is anonymous.
They accept MWeb.
Yeah. Which is really cool. And shielded Zcash and Monero and of course Dash and of course, everything else pretty much. And Nano, of course, by the way, in case you forgot. But so they, the information that gets submitted to their LLMs comes from just them. They don't know who's submitting, which one of their users is submitting it, and neither do these LLMs. So it's like about as private as you can get without like self-hosting your own open source, whatever the hell thing. So that's a good approach to also try out whatever else. And sometimes I look for a thing and I don't like what it gets me, so I ask some other LLM, and then there you go, just switch. And I think that is one of those big risks also, as we become attached to just one, where it's just like this, I have my relationship with Grok, I do whatever, and then eventually it just doesn't, it sucks, or it doesn't tell you what you want, and then you're just locked out of all that. And then there's this thing. And it is interesting because as any kind of a engaged person, I think has a fantastic time using this tech, because you get to just be like, let me ask this, let me ask this one, compare notes. What does this one do better? What does this not do better? But yeah, like, I mean,
you can also try running your own, right? Like, so you've heard of Hugging Face, and so you could download a bunch of models, and if you have the right hardware, you can run your own LLM.
You get a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, they have like a lot of the larger models which require like thousands of dollars worth of GPUs. But you can get a smaller one that runs like on a 5090 or even like an 8 gig GPU or something. You can get a really tiny one that'll do pretty much 80% of the stuff you need it to do. And these models are getting more and more efficient, more and more powerful as time goes on, right? Like to build a model is where you need, the the dojo that Elon Musk built, right? Like that huge data center. To train a model, you need that. But to run a model, once it's been trained, you need, consumer grade hardware. And this is going to keep getting more and more accessible. And it's just a matter of time before it's on everyone's cell phone.
It's an interesting space to be in because honestly, the precedent is set. Like, we were talking about education. I mean, who is teaching the teachers or, the ideology behind the teachers? And it'll come down to the same. That's right. It'll come down to the same thing that we're experiencing within crypto, right? Is the people who are truly passionate about open source, decentralization, privacy. Like the good guys build tech to offset the stuff we don't like in incumbent tech or, the options that we have. And it happened like Maria Montessori, for example, she's teaching kids. It's going really well. The ideology is taking off. Mussolini's like, hey, cool. You can have every school in Italy if you just also teach fascism. And she was like, well, that's not cool. And peaced out. It will take the teachers and it will take the builders and it will take the educators saying, okay, well, hey, we don't believe adherence to any one political belief or any one religion or any one school of thinking or political party should be in control of this tech, and people will build alternatives, and we're already seeing it. So there's the danger of who has the most money often wins, and for maybe the consumer facing stuff or the stuff that gains the most momentum with the normies, that will be a big concern. But of course, then you've got the group of cypherpunks or whoever who is going to very passionately try and push back against it. So, I mean, it's just, I guess it's the continual battle of, who controls the hearts and minds, right? It's just now we're in the digital age.
Correct. The battlefield, the battle's the same, it's just the battlefield's changed, right? It's just,
Yeah. And that's one thing why I believe like open source is kind of the cornerstone of everything.
Yes.
Someone can just copy it and do a different thing. And then,
correct.
Yeah, just being stuck in closed source kind of things is just brutal. And of course, we're in a, not to spoil things for the audience, but we're in like a Jitsi hangout. Jitsi is open source. I'm using open broadcast software, OBS, open source. Obviously on Linux, open source, everything. So I try to do it to the most, because at the worst that can happen is like someone else can figure out a little workaround for things, and then it'll work, as opposed to, like if you're stuck in a system, that's just like the worst. And systems love to get you stuck in them, for sure. Yeah.
Truth. All right. It is noon for me. I would like to stay for the last little bit, but I cannot. I have another call upcoming. It has been delightful, gentlemen.
Yes.
Nice meeting you. I hope I'm surprised if I've seen Joel at a few things. I haven't seen you, so hopefully I meet you in real life in the future. That'd be great.
Were you at Consensus?
Yep.
No. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I'm just trying to see. There was some. Yeah. Well, if everyone comes to Cypherpunk Week in Amsterdam, June next year, if everyone's there, we'll all be there, and we'll all be out till 4 a.m. And
I got
do my damnedest.
Give up.
And what was that?
I got 6 months to save up.
That's right.
Yeah.
I will do my damnedest. I'll definitely be in
Don't
Miami. I will definitely be. There's quite a few things actually coming up next year. I think I'll be stuck at a lot of conferences, which I know are, not cool, but every now and again you can find the side events. You can find the good people. So I shall leave you guys a very Merry Christmas, and I will probably talk to you soon.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Merry Crimsus.
Hey. Well, now we got all the Canadians off the call. I think we're.
Excuse me?
Ooh, thank God.
Funny.
Well, I did live in Canada for a little bit.
You did live there for a while?
for a little bit. Yeah.
You know what's funny is I went for the first time this year for Consensus in Toronto, and I'd resisted the urge to go for my entire life, been almost everywhere else, but just was like, nah, I'm gonna make it personal. But then it finally didn't work, and so all right. As it turns out, I learned the hard way, by the way, that Toronto has at least 2 airports, because I ended up at the wrong one, and I'm like, all right. And
How much was your Uber?
Well, no, I actually took public transit to the other one, and I thought, thankfully, I would have like been flying to try to get on the plane otherwise, but it got delayed just a little bit, so I got to have something to eat before then. But it was the under the water plane, you know, I mean, the underwater airport where you have to go under the tunnel. It's like on an island,
Right.
then a little turboprop thing. It's only an hour flight at most, like to Boston or whatever. So now that I know it's that close, unfortunately, getting up to the only part of Canada I actually want to visit is like Quebec, Montreal, that whole area. But the problem is it's
excellent choice, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear the weather's nice this time of year. But it's harder to reach because it's like a 4.5 hour drive, which is, you know, it's achievable, but it's kind of far. Also, I can't fly anywhere because like I'd have to drive like an hour to get to a good airport that then fly, and it costs too much. Yeah, but I'll make it up at some point.
Well, let me know if you do, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not the best time unless you like snow and super cold weather, but the summers are nice here.
Yeah, I do like cold and snow weather, and you know, snowy weather, but I don't know about that level. I've heard that it's quite a deal up, you know, in Montreal, where it's like actually cold. It's not like t-shirt, jeans, throw a coat on top like I do it. It's like, well, you might want a hat too, you want some gloves, you might want a écharpe, you might want to, you know, all that stuff. But
yeah, I mean, we have this carnival in Quebec City that happens in February, and it is like consistently like between minus 20 and 25 Celsius. I don't know if that is in Fahrenheit, but like quite cold. It's probably around the same. And but people show up, man. There's tons of people outside freezing their butts off. You know, people doing the parade. You know, it's just getting hot chocolate, hanging out by like those where are they oil drum fires. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you could have it the other way too, which is just unbearably hot. And you know,
that's where I live.
Yes, I'm familiar. I used to live in Phoenix for many years, and Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix, nice.
Yeah, well, no, but sure. It's brutally hot, and it's kind of like, you know, Dubai is a lot like Phoenix or Vegas, just also brutally hot for no good reason, and you know, gets to you.
Like 50 plus degrees Celsius for Canadian
50,
friends.
50 plus.
Yeah, you
I
stay
don't know if it's
inside
ever been
the same amount, I guess. In the summer, you don't. It's like our winters. You just stay inside.
Yeah.
My body's used to it. I'm acclimated. I actually lived in the snow for like a year in Colorado. It was high elevation. It's not, you know.
Oh, cool. Yeah, mile above.
Yeah, it snowed, and then I was like, why do I live here? I can't do anything. It's like there was snow outside. What do I do? All right. And then it gets really cold where you inhale through your nose and like little ice crystals from your nose. I'm like, what in the hell is this? Like,
you can damage your lungs if you take a big breath of air.
I'm a desert boy, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, this is like cold as death, heat is life. I need to go where it's warmer. But then again, that's what my body's used to. So you're probably really tough. I mean, you're Canadian.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, you're right. You can handle the snow. For me, I was just like, my body's just like, dude, you got to run for your life, and that's what I did.
No, I mean, like if I don't have a good set of gloves and a good toque and a good, you know, like I freeze my butt off too. But you know, once you're prepared, it's okay.
A toque, yeah, we call those beanies. I met this Canadian girl in Texas. I was going for some education at the time, and she's like, we had this toque beanie. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it was a total breakdown of communication. But I learned what a toque was.
Yeah, it's a French word.
Right, toque.
Yeah.
Toque or toque?
But en français, c'est toque. So yeah, toque.
Ah, j'ai compris. There you go.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, there's different levels to things as well. Like I kind of feel like, for those who have not been to Arizona, if you're in a lot of Arizona, it's hot and deserty, but not that bad. It's just like Tucson a little bit, but Phoenix for sure is just like you're in an oven. It's just in an oven. And if
Yeah.
you go to like anywhere else around it, it's fine. It's not that bad.
Yeah, you gotta. I live by water, so it's nice, right? I mean, waters are the best out here. You're just having fun because it's miserably hot outside and it's super cold, and so this weird dynamic. So much fun. But yeah, man, you go outside. If you go like hiking, you will die. Like you have to know what you're doing. You have to have water. Like these guys that come down vacation, they start in the morning where it's like 30, 40 degrees Celsius. It's hot, but not that bad, and then they're dead.
Yeah,
It happens quick.
that's why you have to. Whenever I'd hike up what's called now Piestewa Peak or Squaw Peak, the gates would open at 5 a.m. and so I'd have to be there. There'd be like 20 cars ready to get in and park for people starting to hike at 5, because if you wait too long, like if you wait till it's like you get started at like 7:30, in summer you're gonna be halfway up and you're gonna be getting a heat stroke. Just no good. And there's always someone who gets helicoptered off the top of the thing because they thought they could curse God in his own, no, that's not how you do it. Do you find that a lot though in the cold parts of like, Canada, where you find people just coming up unprepared who don't understand what winter is? Or is it mostly when people go there, they kind of are at least scared ahead of time?
Yeah, I mean, I've met a lot of people who were immigrants, for example, to Canada, and it's always like a rite of passage, buying their first winter boots, buying their first winter jacket, asking for advice. You're like, yeah, don't get that, get this, type of thing. And definitely I mean, if you're here for a day and you go outside and you're unprepared, you're going home and you're getting prepared. You're like,
Well,
there's no way around it, unless you stay inside all day.
Yeah, snow tires and the whole thing, right? I mean,
Oh, right, yeah. Well, snow tires are obligatory.
I heard about that. Yeah, it's funny. I have a little rear wheel drive sports car, and I have not had snow tires in it. And yes, I do drive it all year round, and it's probably not smart, but I'm just careful. Just make sure I'm not, make sure I'm not too crazy. But it was funny. I did know someone else who's from Montreal.
I assume you have to have like all terrains on those things, right? Because if they're street tires, like I had a car like that, and like it was, I literally could not move. I had no traction whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I've got all terrains, but they're not as good as dedicated winter ice tires.
Yes.
Like you'll get the Blizzaks or whatever, like I don't know, Hakkapelitas from Nokian. Those are the absolute best. I do run all terrain like KO2s, and they're fantastic for what they are, but you have to be careful for sure, because ice will sneak up on you and bite you like really hard. I mean, there's nothing scarier than like pushing on the brakes and then you're not slowing down at all, and you start like shimmying sideways. You're like, oh shit, there's a car.
There's something. Listen, I've been in a spin out like that many times, and there's something like oddly peaceful about it. It just like it kind of. I'm sure this is what it feels like when you actually pass away and leave this mortal coil. Is there's like that moment of just like peace.
You're like a Zen master if that's what happens to you, because
there's this part of it
puckers up and like I freak out. I'm like, oh shit.
There's something about like the lack of control of just like, and it's so smooth. It's just like, but then
you ever been driving real fast on the road and then you hit the black ice and you lose traction for a second? Your car does a little jiggle shit, and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like that. Yeah, exactly.
Like if you're hydroplane on like a puddle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll freak out.
Realize you lose the connection with the road, and you're like, oh, I'm no longer in control. Jesus, take the wheel.
That's happened plenty. But it is kind of interesting about like infrastructure, depending on where you're at. Cold or hot weather alone, it's real. Like for example, I think you can mostly live in an arid place like Phoenix with no special preparation, and you could just, because you're inside, it's cold. It's not just cool, but it's very cold in most buildings. It's terrible. and then you leave and you're in the oven, but then you get to your vehicle, and just don't sit on the leather seats with shorts or you'll get burned.
Yeah.
And then you just turn on. If your vehicle works, it will have air and it will work. And then you just drive down the road to the next spot. That's, oh my gosh, it's the oven. Oh wait, now I'm in the freezer. And it just,
Yeah, I would say cold weather definitely requires more specialization, 100%. Like, disconnecting your water when it's about, and all this stuff.
yeah, it depends on where you live too, because places like I know people who have come from much colder places like Chicago, for example. They're like actually cold, and they're in some ways unprepared for winter because they're used to like everything being taken care of because the infrastructure is just there. Whereas like a lot of roads will not be plowed locally, or almost anyone who has a house will probably have to either get rid of everything themselves or they'll have to hire a plow guy. And a lot of times you don't have to hire plow guys in more.
So wait a week.
Yeah. And then you don't have to worry about all the infrastructure around it. It's just like you're in a cold environment. Whereas, other places, you have to worry about like, and then, you have to watch the weather for the nor'easter. It's coming up and they have to be like, do I have enough bread and milk? I got to go make it out to the market basket in time and get it all. And there's just so many items, so many things to sort of figure out. And yeah, it's kind of a interesting thing. I wonder what it's like in other climates, like say the jungle. Like I wonder if people have like jungle things they have to take care of. Or
Yeah, absolutely. Malaria and everything. I mean, you can get overheat in the jungle too because it's so humid. You know what I mean? It's terrible. Now, you look at the old World War II, stories like anecdotes from soldiers who fought in like Java and around that area, Burma and stuff. I mean, the fight in the jungle that's a nightmare. That is a nightmare. Hard to stay alive in that. A lot of the people in the Vietnam War, a lot of the boys, they would wear the Wrangler jeans because the jeans were really good at holding out the leeches and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not no expert in jungle. It sounds like a bitch, though, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All the bugs and poisonous creatures in there. Yeah.
I grew up in Florida, and it's pretty cool. Like, weather's good. You could start your car's AC before you leave the building and, you get used to that sort of thing. Then hurricane season comes around, and hurricane season is a bitch.
Yeah. Natural disaster season anywhere is not good.
No.
That's what we say. Like as Canadians, we're like, oh, at least we don't have poisonous snakes, poisonous spiders, hurricanes. Like yeah, we're freezing our balls off, but at least we don't have earthquakes right over here.
Oh, we get bunch of earthquakes.
You don't have spiders up in Canada? Like, isn't it like a real foresty area, or not really?
Not really, no.
No, in Colorado, man, be winter and just everything crawls in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Wake up
There
in the
are
middle of the
spiders,
day.
but like no black widows, nothing poisonous.
Yeah.
I understand.
There's a certain sweet spot where if you get just the right spot in the cold weather areas where you just don't get tons of mosquitoes, and you get some, obviously, in the summer, but you don't get too many weird, creepy crawlies, but also the animals aren't massive yet. Like, I'm in an area where there theoretically are sometimes moose, but I just haven't seen one because they're just further north. And if you go up north, then you might get curb stomped by a freaking moose. It's like, or grizzly if you go to that, more out west and stuff. And it's like, there's this like sweet spot of things. And I guess like there's a certain bit of the desert of the Southwest where there's a little bit of that where it's just like, well, it's unbearably hot, but nothing too crazy happens. And then it's also, I do remember all the times finding like scorpions in my clothes and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I've not even dreamed of seeing a scorpion in well over a decade. This is so nice. Like, I just remember all this stuff. Oh, there's no snake. There's no, like, anytime you see a snake, it's just like, now it's just like, oh, little cute little fella. Like, there's no fear. There's no, this could hurt me. There's no, oh, the little spider. It's not like something nasty. So I guess that's one thing I'm glad I don't live in too much of a biologically thriving environment, because at some point it thrives too much.
Well, hold on a second. Don't you guys have ticks?
Yeah, there's some. I never
had
a problem with it. There is something very scary in, I guess, western parts of Massachusetts, especially, called the Lone Star tick. That for people who aren't in the area, it carries a disease that if it bites you, you could become permanently allergic to red meat, and then that's like a big like your life's
That's
almost over for some
cruel and
people.
unusual. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I know I could make it work. I could be like, you know what? There's a diverse diet of like poultry and seafood that I could like cobble together to like make it through the rest of my life. But for a lot of people, it's just like
I'd kill myself. It'd be over. I can never eat a steak again. I'm like, what the hell's the point? And I was like, I don't care. It's over for me. Now, that's the thing. Like, actually, Canada sounds a lot more attractive to me because that's the one thing Colorado. You wake up at 2 a.m. Okay, 2 a.m. You got to pee. You turn on your little lamp because you see where the hell you're going. And on the wall, it's just like this. It's like the spiders right here. What the fuck? You know what I mean, dude? I had to get the hell out of there, man. No way.
yeah.
Can't do it.
Colorado, it still is sort of deserty. Like it's kind of where desert meets like mountains and stuff. It's not like it's not like a good climate. Like I feel blessed every time running around because it's like the idyllic kind of. Oh, there's like a woodchuck, a little groundhog on the thing there. Oh, you see a deer. You see there's just nothing. It's all woodland creatures. It's not like nothing nasty. I mean, you will find like a possum. They're never nice, but like other than it's just nothing too crazy and just the way life.
Well, yeah, it's like that's what I like. It's
Be.
like we don't really have any tornadoes here, which is so good. Tornadoes are another thing. I'm like, what? It's like this death funnel comes from the fucking sky and just kills you and your family and destroys everything. It's incredible. That's an incredible phenomenon. So are hurricanes. That's like one big death funnel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see it coming. You can't see a tornado coming.
Yeah, tornado just sneaks up on you, man. That's wild.
From my understanding, it's also the only part in the entire world where there are tornadoes. It's one strip in the U.S. and that's it. Other than that, you will occasionally find something, but it's very like it's something like 95% or more of all. Or anything serious for that matter. It's just right there.
I call it Tornado Alley.
Yeah. The funny thing is, well, I always like to see what disasters people experience elsewhere, and when you have a unique one, there's a weird disaster in Mongolia called Zud or I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's basically when it gets so cold and everything dies. It's not like one specific weather phenomenon, but they call it that way when it gets so cold that like even the livestock can't make it through the ice to find anything to eat, and they all just like die. Like all the livestock that's out there in the Mongolian winter for normal winters, it just gets too cold and they're all just wiped out. And it's like, oh, it's the Zud. You got hit with the Zud.
You gotta say it like a Mongolian throat singer.
Zud. Yes, most insensitive podcast in the world, I'm sure.
Right?
Terrible. Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah. So let's just go. What do you guys got planned for the holidays, if you want to share? And also, do you have any expectations for what are things you're looking forward to in the new year? Because this is not the New Year's podcast, but I won't be seeing you for the New Year's podcast, sadly.
Is it because it's not going to be one?
No, it's just every year I've done the Christmas special, and then for the Dash podcast, I do the New Year's Eve special. And, anyone can come to that one if you want as well. It's just going to be more focused on the blue coin. So, yeah.
Well, I can go first, I guess. Christmas and New Year, whatever. I just family time, right? Touch a little grass, be with my family. I think that's most important. Keep me grounded a little bit. This is a grind. I mean, you guys are grinding. I don't think I've ever talked to Animal or Decentralized Creative, but I guarantee you these guys are just grinding their hearts out, working very hard, doing their best to push their ecosystem and to build a new future, right? So that's what I'm doing on the Thorchain side. Everyone has their own story, has their own mission. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to basically everyone who spoke today, like their vision, this ethos of decentralized, open source, permissionlessness. This is becoming mainstream. And I think privacy has been huge this year, right? With Dash and Zcash and everything, and Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, they all have their own privacy element. I think we're on the right track here, and I think it's just a matter of time before these things become realized. And right, and like an October 10th thing. Remember the October 10th thing where the Oracle or the price feed on centralized exchanges resulted in crazy things like Atom being worth like nothing. and people getting just absolutely rugged. There's really cool things that we can do on Thorchain with the app layer. We have something called Enshrined Oracles, which takes a bunch of different data feeds.
Yeah, which that makes me think. Like during the sphinctering, whatever you'd want to call it. What were the prices like on like Thorchain and Maya and stuff at that time? I'm sure there must have been some reaction, but there wasn't the ability for it to just instantly go down like that. I'm sure there might have been like a little bump and that's it, right?
Well, the enshrined oracles, from my understanding, they're largely unaffected. But that's kind of like two questions: like enshrined oracle performance, and then what would the pool price do? And that's an interesting question. I'm not sure on the pool price, because the pool price is just whatever arbitrager is determined to be, because they're literally just people who are rebalancing the pools. So they'll probably, they're making money, generally speaking, on that volatility from the sex behavior. So that's actually an interesting question. The enshrined oracle, though, that's kind of a different thing. And that was fine because centralized, it was like unique to centralized exchange. It wasn't like, Binance and Kraken and Coinbase or whoever had all this uniformity on assets. It was just like, it was,
Were there a bunch of swaps that happened at that time, or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of times the volatility, like, Dash, for example, has been doing incredibly well. And that's on Maya protocol. We should have it on Thorchain. We're stupid for not doing that. But, there's a lot of volatility. Whenever there is volatility on centralized exchange, it directly correlates to Thorchain every time.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of like cross-chain building to come, I'm sure. I mean, and also there is another, as far as I'm aware, cross-chain protocol that's coming out in January, I think. So there's that'll be fun.
Which one's that?
Let me see if it's like how much of it is announced. Just got to make sure.
Oh, yeah. No worries.
Teasing.
Yeah, I don't want to squeeze anything out of you. But that's the cool thing. Is like, I think when it comes to price feeds, like that's the transition going to take place. It's going to take place from centralized exchanges, which are just, it's a black box. You don't know what's going on in the internals. And then the decentralized exchanges, we're going to make the new standard of what is the most reliable data point, the best price feeds. And this is how then you can build like reliable DeFi primitives like lending and liquidations and, leverage and all that stuff.
Yes. So apparently, well, if there's an account posted about this, it's called the Magi Network, whatever, MAGI_network on X. And it's kind of like a Hive community adjacent cross-chain AMM plus smart contract layer kind of thing. I'm not 100% sure on all the structure these days. It used to be called VSC or Virtual Smart Chain, whatever it was called. And so that'll be another fun entrant.
Yeah.
So is it like another solvers market maker? Like they don't have their own liquidity pools and stuff?
I think
or?
they will have their own liquidity pools.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it will be more Thorchain Maya adjacent type thing, more that style. So
yeah, they announced it. They announced the first pools were going to be Bitcoin and Dash. So they did publicly talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know the dates.
Well, there you go. Hey, it's okay. More people coming in. Like the best thing is that the world wins, right? We become free and prosperous. At the end of the day, like if let's just say I would trade the success of Thorchain, like the existence of Thorchain, if it meant a guarantee that the world's free and then we can all just engage in commerce. Because like we're all here from necessity, right? We all have a gun to our head. So that's what it is, essentially. So heck yeah, bring it on. I love it. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll get everything on the same everyone on the same decentralized rails. That's something I've really been thinking about a lot, right? Is actually might as well. I'll do my shilling last. How about this? This is just if it comes naturally for me at this point. I have to remember that there's decorum. So let's your cross chain stuff and then touching grass with fam sounds good.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm going to see family, and then later on after Christmas, I'll be going down to visit my girlfriend and her. Basic stuff. It's gonna, off work, so I'm pretty happy about that. And yeah, between now and then, we just moved, so I've got a bunch of boxes still to unpack and things to put up. Busy at home, here doing stuff. And actually, last time we spoke, Joel, you had mentioned the superiority of stainless steel over cast iron.
Oh, did you get?
Well, I'm
stainless
in the
steel
market.
pilled?
I'm in the market, and I'm just wondering if you had any recommendations.
I don't. I can probably send you some, I guess. I don't know what. I just know what I have and it works. A good quality stainless steel should be good, as long as you can clean it. The only recommendation I would have is there is a gentleman who apparently is a paisano. He's a countryman of yours. I could tell because of his accent, of course. Who is called the Steel Pan Guy on TikTok. I don't know if he's on other things, but he is great entertainment. He's one of the only people that beyond just a basic trick will show you how to cook on a steel pan. The tricks as far as like how to get your eggs not to stick, and he always like hype it up. He just this best cooking technology in the world is what big Teflon doesn't want you to know. Like every time he goes in there, you got to turn it to the high end.
Your pan properly.
Yeah, you got to turn it to the high end of medium low. It's like every time, it's always the high end of medium low. It's always where you got to put it. And the guy's a funny guy.
Yeah, there's a physics principle about that. I don't know what it is, but
yes,
you got to turn up the heat to the high end of medium.
The high
low.
end of medium low.
Huh?
Or if you're doing a non-scrambled egg, maybe more on the low end of medium low. And you got to put it with some butter, but that you got to put some oil once the usually it's when the water dances on the pan, but for the
Well,
basic fried egg, it sizzles. It's before it gets to when it sputters. It doesn't quite get there. Then you hit it with the oil and a little bit of butter too, and then your fried egg will not stick. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to try my first steak on a stainless steel.
You know what
I
you
used to work
gotta
in the
do?
kitchen, so yeah, go ahead.
You know what you got to do, right? You got to get some kind of a steak, like a fatty steak of some kind that has fat and has like a fat cap or whatever. And you just stick it on the fat cap in a completely cold pan, no grease, no nothing. And then you turn it to the high end of medium low. And then as it starts to heat up, it starts to render out the fat from that cap. And then you get the oil to then cook the rest of the steak eventually. And sometimes you have to get those tongs and like clip it onto the thing and then slide the thing so it locks in and just leave that on the pan so it holds it upright right on that fat cap.
Okay,
and it renders down. And then
Interesting.
you just do it there. And then you don't need any extra oil. That's it. You just start it from completely cold and then bring it up. And then
Should do a cooking segment on the.
Oh yeah, cooking with Joel.
the steel pan rundown.
I have to. Sorry, I have to quickly interrupt. I just got a notification. My oh, look at the dog. Gosh dang it! See, this I'm talking about.
Pupper.
Look at the dog, everybody. The dog is cute. Look.
Yes. I would summon
It's
my
so-
cats, but they don't come.
Yeah, well, cats are like, they're awesome, but they're kind of sociopathic. They just kind of do their own thing, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I got a notification from my dad. You guys, I have to run. This has been such a fun conversation. Joel, thanks for hosting it. And hey, Animal and Decentralized Creative, thanks for sticking it out like the entire time. That's really cool. You guys are legends, and it's been really nice chatting with you guys. You guys are really smart, awesome humans, and I hope we chat more in the future.
Allegedly humans,
Really
some
cool.
of them are Canadians.
Yeah, you too. Hopefully, we'll see you at a conference one day.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'm gonna keep an eye out for you guys. So,
Okay.
all right.
See you, Denny.
Take care,
Bye.
guys. Bye bye.
Yeah, so you're
My
gonna
cat
just-
has yet to come back. I
Yeah,
gave her
well-
treats. I think she might have taken it personally.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she's,
I don't know.
The top
Did she
rope.
jump? It happened so quick. She jumped, right? Okay.
I think she fell.
I just heard it.
Yeah.
So I got a project for 2026. I live in a pretty crowded city, and it's not always easy to get around. So I also sold my Jeep 5 years ago, and I have not purchased a four-wheeled vehicle since then. Just never got back to it. So I either Uber or take public transport, or I'll walk. And kind of wanted a way to get around faster, So I'm looking at an electric unicycle. It's called the Leaper-Kim Lynx, not to be confused with the Desert Lynx. This is more like a road lynx. So that's kind of something I want to do next
Yeah, the
year.
Desert Lynx is a little slow.
Right. So that's what I want to.
Very nice. I cannot even imagine the safety issues of that though. So I'd have to. I don't know. You're just going to be padded in like a padded cell type stuff? Because I just anytime I see those like razor scooters or any of those kinds of things, like you hit one rock and it's like you're done. Like it's say bye to your life.
Well, this does have like a suspension system. It's more like you can think of it. It's like the wheels the size of a motorcycle wheel. It does have a suspension. And you would have to get geared up like a helmet and kind of motorcycle jacket and stuff. So
yeah, I've seen those guys ripping around the city with them. They're all kitted up in bike gear.
Yeah.
They got their Alpine Star jackets and stuff, and motorcycle.
Yeah,
they go quick, man.
Yeah, some of them do. I'm not a big motorcycle rider, so I don't know if I'm going to get the adrenaline, fix. But I just I wanted to get around mostly, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, that'll be cool. It'll be especially fun if you can, what if you could do like a crypto taxi type thing? I wonder.
What do you mean?
Like, it's funny. There was a guy at the last Dash conference in Zurich who created an app called Dash Taxi. That was like an Uber type thing.
Cool.
And it was like a proof of concept that's been many years, but it'd be interesting to get some sort of a thing like that. There was, and this is where we could get way too much into the rabbit hole again, but there was an Ethereum app in the super early days of Ethereum called Swarm City.
I remember.
Yes, and it was a lot of good friends were involved with that one, and do you remember I did a podcast with the Thrive Protocol not within the last year? I don't know if you remember, but the guy who does marketing for that also did marketing for Swarm City back in the day. So
I do.
That's it's a very small world, but Swarm City was basically the Uber. Like Uber makes Craigslist in a truly decentralized way, and they struggled with some of the technological pieces that now should be possible. So you could bring back a decentralized Uber of anything type of a thing like that, and it would be cool to do. Just like the problem is like all these other apps are not peer-to-peer, like the DoorDashes of the world, the Instacarts, the just everything else that like I just don't want to sign up for all this invasive data stuff, and I don't want to pay all this money to this megacorp or to anyone really, but that much money. Like I'll pay you to go pick up a coffee for me, and that's it. But like,
well, maybe we could give it a try, like for delivery stuff on a unicycle.
Yeah, that's include insurance. Which, by the way, there is a Brazilian company called 88i that does micro insurance, and they're building some of their stuff on the Dash network, which is pretty cool. So, it's like as in you buy insurance for your Uber ride for like the 20 minutes you're in the car, and then it just expires. So, yeah. Can
you get on Dash Pay?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I don't know if it's been implemented as far as like a payment part, but yeah, everything. Any big thing has to take a long time to be worked on, but that's cool. Yeah, so like from my side of things, the things that I'm most excited about are, first of all, probably be spending time with like the in-laws during Christmas. I will have a New Year's party, which will be nice. You guys are invited if you can come down, but I understand you don't live anywhere close. But if you want to, invite's always there.
Thank you, sir.
But there is, first of all, there's a company called Zebek, which has these prepaid cards that are reloadable without KYC, which is the huge like holy grail, and you can reload them with Dash in like under 30 seconds start to finish of opening the app kind of thing, where you have a balance. It's this, because of the instant transaction stuff, you get to just speed run through that. So basically it's one of those last little things that prevents people from trying to live on crypto is spending it. Sometimes it's like, okay, well, I'll have to keep a balance somewhere else on some other thing, or I'll have to have a backup with a bank or something like that. And just being able to just keep it like that, it really helps a lot of things. Another thing, which might not seem like a big deal, but for me it is, there's a new option in the Dash wallets that it's an encrypted metadata backup. And basically, anytime like I send you money, it's just like, thanks for the food animal, I still owe you $50 or whatever that will, or note or whatever it is, or that this was a purchase or whatever. All that data is stored in the actual, in wallets typically, or in your own, or in a cloud, and all that can be lost. But now it's actually stored encrypted, private, of course, in the Dash system. So when you just restore your seed, every transaction is for, just, there you go, it's all right in there. And that's part of a greater thing of like, do you remember the Get on Zero people? I don't know if you remember them. There's some Bitcoin. They were like early Lightning Network day kind of Bitcoin maxis who wanted to get on zero fiat, where they wanted to just not have any fiat. They wanted to only have Bitcoin, and then they'd sell some for their money in their bank to pay for stuff. And it was like I'd like to get on zero. I'm on zero fiat for money, but I'd like to get on zero fiat or old school centralized everything as I can. Obviously, I don't think almost anyone can do that today, or you could with a bunch of hacks, but I'd like to push. That's kind of like a New Year. I mean, it's not the New Year's podcast, but it's kind of a New Year's resolution type thing. Is I want to start migrating more things to decentralized rails. Where, for example, this podcast is streaming on Odysee as well, which then will be uploaded to the Arweave blockchain, I believe. I don't know if they're using Arweave yet, or they're still using whatever they're using before. But again, there you go. I want to migrate some of my websites to this stuff. I want to migrate everything I can off of centralized censorable type things, and putting it on some kind of a sustainable blockchain, a blockchain that will still be here in 10 years kind of thing. And like anytime
what about things like Netflix or no?
Well, I technically have it. I haven't used it in like 6 months, but like
Netflix?
Yeah, unfortunately, I should. But
no judgment here. That's healthy.
Yeah, I probably don't watch. I don't use it as much as I should, though. I think I probably should be like, every couple of weeks, boot it up, look at something. But those kinds of things, I think you do kind of, the thing is, I don't consider that like an essential type thing where it's just like, oh, we've got some free time. I kind of like the idea of, it's like be the change you wish to see in the world. And part of it is like, what if you just only eat local food or stuff you grow yourself, or just there's all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, I'd like to unscrew, as it were, everything. And so let's, having, why would I want to pay a hosting provider for a website if I could just pay a blockchain, right? That's open and free for anyone to use, or not pay a blockchain, depends on which blockchain, but just do that with everything. So that's kind of where my mindset's at.
All things.
Centralize all the things. No one's ever thought of that before. I'm the pioneer of that thought process. So anyway. All right. Well, that's probably it. What do you think, guys? You got anything else to show last minute, or are we good to wrap this up?
No shilling?
Yeah, no shilling here either.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, buy Litecoin.
That's a good one.
I do have
Litecoin and buy Dash.
I do have some. Litecoin's always my backup, as far as like I have some Litecoin just in case I can't use Dash for whatever I need, like using BitPay or something. So Litecoin's always the one.
That's the thing. If Litecoin can just be number 2, right? Like that'd be good enough, I think.
Yeah, it just solidifies its place in the world. But I do think that a lot of I think Dino Coin season will be in full effect next cycle as well, where all the crap from poor fundamentals will start to shake out the other things, and then you'll still have some new ones that are awesome, but like some of this is crypto boomer cope, but I also believe that the old
I think just like the ICOs, the meme coins, the ERC20 tokens, they were just a fad, And frankly, Trump coin was the last big meme coin. I don't know about you guys, but look, I'm not a huge meme coin guy, but has the president released his token?
I couldn't make that out. Sorry.
Yeah, you're starting to
Oh,
break
you
up.
can't hear me?
I think you're
All right.
you're starting to be pulled away by the universe. I think it's time to conclude this thing. So
That's fine.
thanks for chilling. It's been a pleasure. Always invited next time. I'll see you guys everyone who's watching. I'll see you after Christmas at some point. A week from today, I'm doing the Dash Podcast New Year's Eve special. So it's gonna be another similar thing where you can all just come out and hang out and stuff. And
Sounds awesome.
yeah, it'll be good. Do these every year, so put out enough content for like 8 months of clips if I'm lazy and don't do any other podcasts. So there'll be plenty. One clip that it would be amazing to have is the cat taking the
No,
spell.
please.
The cat eating.
No,
shit.
she's still pissed off, dude. I gave her salmon treats, and she ate them, but she hasn't come back yet. And normally she was on my lap the whole time up until then. I think she got
She's
bored.
just like, we are over.
Yeah. Screw you, animal.
All right, plenty of false goodbyes. Now it's the real goodbye. Bye, everyone. Have a good Christmas, New Year's, whatever else. I'll see you in a week or maybe later. Bye-bye.
See ya.